groundbreaking leap of aviation technology, the legendary F-22 Raptor, already the world's most advanced stealth fighter, has been transformed in ways no one could have anticipated. With 2025 marking a new era of modern warfare, the United States Air Force has unleashed an upgraded version of this iconic war machine, leaving military experts and world governments stunned. What makes the 2025 F-22 so shockingly advanced that global superpowers are scrambling to keep up? Join us as we dive into the shocking innovations that have redefined the F-22 Raptor and left the world in shock. The F-22 Raptor, widely regarded as the most feared aircraft of its kind, first took to the skies in 1997. After being designated the F-22A, it officially entered service on December 2005. From the moment it became fully operational, it dominated the skies with unparalleled features and performance. This cutting-edge fighter jet excelled at taking down enemy aircraft that dared to challenge its supremacy. The F-22 is truly a technological marvel. After a lengthy development process and some early operational challenges, it evolved into a critical asset of the U.S. Air Force's tactical air power. It continues to play a central role in the fighter fleet and will remain a key piece of American air dominance until it is eventually succeeded by the next generation of air superiority fighters. Even today, no other aircraft has managed to surpass the F-22. Its stealth capabilities make it nearly invisible to radar, and its advanced systems allow it to dominate the skies with incredible precision. The F-22 can detect threats from miles away and engage targets with astonishing accuracy. Remarkably, in its history of service, no F-22 has ever been shot down in combat. The development of this advanced aircraft and the upgrades it received have transformed it into a more powerful machine. In 1981, the United States Air Force saw the need to replace older fighter jets like the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Fighting Falcon. This led to the launch of a project called Senior Sky, aimed at creating a next-generation fighter jet that could counter emerging threats from the Soviet Union. These threats included advanced surface-to-air missiles, improved radar systems on Soviet planes, and the development of formidable enemy fighters like the Su-27 and MiG-29. To address these new challenges, the Air Force reached out to aerospace companies, gathering ideas and forming a team to develop cutting-edge technology for this new fighter jet. By 1983, this team became known as the Advanced Tactical Fighter System Program Office, based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which was responsible for overseeing the project. After refining the design and setting performance requirements, the Air Force sought proposals from several major defense companies in September 1985. The main focus of these proposals was to create a fighter jet that could operate stealthily while maintaining high speeds and flying long distances, making it a formidable force in the skies. Over time, the requirements for the new aircraft shifted, placing greater emphasis on stealth technology by December 1985. At the same time, the Navy sought to replace its aging F-14 Tomcat with a new aircraft called the NATF. Since the development of these advanced technologies was incredibly costly, companies were encouraged to collaborate. By October 1986, Lockheed and Northrop were selected as key players. Lockheed formed a partnership with Boeing and General Dynamics, while Northrop teamed up with McDonnell Douglas. For the next 50 months, both teams worked on developing two prototype planes, the YF-22 and YF-23. These aircraft weren't designed for direct competition, but rather to prove that their concepts could function as intended. In parallel, the Air Force brought in Pratt & Whitney and General Electric to create engines for the new planes. During the development process, Lockheed's team made a significant redesign of their aircraft in 1987 to make it lighter. They used cutting-edge tools like computer simulations and wind tunnel tests to ensure the plane met all requirements. To reduce costs, they also made adjustments, such as removing some radar systems and simplifying the ejection seats. Both teams produced two prototypes, each fitted with a different engine to test the options. The YF-22 had its first flight in September 1990, and during testing, it proved it could reach high speeds without needing afterburners. After thorough evaluations, the U.S. Air Force selected Lockheed's design in April 1991. Although the competing YF-23 was faster and more stealthy, the YF-22 stood out for its superior maneuverability and lower production risks. Additionally, it was more cost-effective and easier to manufacture. While the Navy canceled its NATF program due to high costs, the Air Force moved forward with Lockheed's design, which eventually became the F-22 Raptor. The Raptor is now recognized as one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, after rigorous testing and large-scale exercises to ensure mission readiness. The F-22 was first used in a Homeland Defense mission in January 2007 as part of Operation Noble Eagle. Later that year in November 2007, several F-22 from the 90th Fighter Squadron at Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska intercepted two Russian Tu-95 MS bombers under the North American Aerospace Defense Command. Since then, F-22 has frequently escorted Russian Tu-160 bombers during similar encounters. On February 2007, the F-22 was deployed overseas for the first time when the 27th Fighter Squadron was sent to Kadena Air Base in Okinawa, Japan. The initial deployment of the F-22 Raptors encountered significant challenges. As 6 F-22 were flying from Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii, they experienced multiple system failures due to software issues while crossing the international date line. This forced them to turn back to Hawaii with the help of tanker aircraft providing support. Fortunately, the problem was quickly addressed, and within just 48 hours, the F-22 were back on track, continuing their journey. Kadena Air Base soon became a key rotation point for F-22 units, where they also participated in training exercises in South Korea and Malaysia. These exercises were designed to improve deployment speed and readiness in the event of a conflict with powerful adversaries. To further streamline operations, the U.S. Air Force developed a strategy called Rapid Raptor. This concept allowed for the deployment of 2 to 4 F-22s along with a C-17 aircraft for logistical support, enabling swift, small-scale deployments. The Rapid Raptor concept was first tested at Wake Island in 2013 and later in 2014 in Guam. Additional trials took place in Europe during August and September of 2015, in direct response to Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. Building on the success of Rapid Raptor, the U.S. Air Force developed a new operational concept known as Agile Combat Employment. This approach focuses on more flexible and distributed air operations, which are crucial during conflicts with major adversaries, ensuring the Air Force can adapt and respond quickly in high-stakes situations. The F-22 Raptor, also known by its internal designation Configuration 647, is a cutting-edge next-generation fighter jet. What sets it apart isn't just its advanced engineering, but also its revolutionary capabilities. It was the first aircraft to feature supercruise, a game-changing technology that allows it to fly at supersonic speeds without the need for afterburners. This gives it a massive edge in combat, allowing for rapid engagement while conserving fuel. The Raptor combines multiple key features into a single platform: super maneuverability, advanced stealth, and state-of-the-art avionics. These allow it to operate effectively even in hostile environments filled with advanced enemy defenses. Its design is optimized for stealth, featuring a sleek fuselage and uniquely shaped wings with smooth, angled edges. This careful shaping, along with its stealth technology, minimizes its radar signature, making it nearly invisible to enemy detection systems. Unlike older jets, the F-22 has sophisticated control surfaces like flaps, ailerons, and rudders, which give it unmatched agility, even at high speeds. Another stealth-enhancing feature is its internal weapons bays, which keep its arsenal hidden from radar detection until the moment they're needed. In addition to these combat advantages, the F-22 is equipped with practical features like retractable landing gear, a refueling boom for extended missions, and an emergency tailhook for landing in extreme situations. The F-22 Raptor is powered by two advanced Pratt & Whitney F119 turbofan engines, which are positioned close to each other. These engines feature special exhaust nozzles that can tilt up and down to help steer the aircraft. Each engine is equipped with a computerized control system, ensuring optimal performance. These engines generate tremendous thrust, giving the Raptor exceptional maneuverability, even when fully equipped for combat. This balance between power and weight allows the jet to remain highly agile. With its specially designed air intakes, the F-22 can fly at impressive speeds, reaching around Mach 1.8 without the need for extra fuel. When afterburners are engaged, they can exceed speeds of Mach 2. One of the Raptor's unique features is its ability to maintain supersonic flight without afterburners. something that sets it apart from most other fighter jets, which rely on afterburners to reach such speeds. Flying at these high speeds and altitudes also enhances the effectiveness of the Raptor's sensors and weapons, while making it more difficult for ground-based missiles to target. Additionally, the F-22 weapons are stored internally, which reduces drag and allows it to fly even faster than other jets that carry weapons externally. The fighter jet can soar at an impressive speed of Mach 1.2 at an altitude of 52,000 feet, allowing it to cover greater distances with its air-to-air missiles and bombs compared to the older aircraft previously used by the United States Air Force. Its design incorporates robust materials like titanium and advanced composites, enabling it to withstand the intense pressures of supersonic flight. What truly sets the Raptor apart from other fighter jets is its exceptional stealth capabilities. It has been meticulously engineered to evade radar detection, primarily by shaping its body in a way that scatters or absorbs radar waves. To maintain its stealth, the Raptor conceals its weapons inside the fuselage and utilizes specialized materials that further absorb radar signals. Additionally, this remarkable fighter emits minimal radio waves, heat, and noise, making it more challenging for adversaries to locate. However, determining how effective its stealth features are can be complex. While it excels against specific types of radar used by other aircraft, it can be more easily detected by lower-frequency radars, such as those used in weather monitoring or early warning systems, largely due to its size. Radar technology is not infallible. It often struggles with accuracy and can be thrown off by competing signals. Even when a stealth aircraft is detected, it's challenging for defenders to track and engage it effectively. These advanced planes are equipped with sophisticated systems that gather data from various sensors, helping pilots grasp their surroundings better and enhancing their flying capabilities. Key systems include the electronic warfare system, which disrupts enemy communications, the missile launch detector, alerting pilots to incoming threats, the radar communication system for relaying information, the navigation system for precise movement, and an infrared sensor that can spot distant objects. One standout feature is the APG-77 radar installed on the F-22. This radar is remarkable because it can monitor multiple targets simultaneously, regardless of weather conditions. It can also emit signals designed to confuse enemy radar systems, rapidly altering its signals to evade detection. This radar can identify targets from 125 to 150 miles away, and even farther with narrow beams. Additionally, an upgraded version of this radar can create ground maps, track moving targets, and assist in coordinating airstrikes. Alongside the radar, the aircraft is equipped with the ALR-94 electronic warfare system, renowned as one of the most advanced systems on board. The aircraft is equipped with over 30 antennas strategically placed across its structure, allowing it to detect potential threats from every direction. This advanced system can identify targets that are even farther away than the radar can, providing the pilot with critical information to lock onto these targets effectively. Depending on the level of threat detected, the system can advise the pilot to deploy countermeasures, such as flares or chaff, to confuse and mislead enemy missiles. In addition to its impressive radar capabilities, the fighter boasts several other sensors. One of these is the multi-mode laser detector, which can pick up infrared signals from all angles. Another vital component is the advanced infrared search and track sensor mounted on the wing, which can identify and engage distant objects with remarkable accuracy. Inside the cockpit, the Raptor features a state-of-the-art digital flight control system. The primary display is a head-up display that keeps vital flight information within the pilot's line of sight, while 6 additional color screens provide more detailed data and insights. The controls consist of a side stick for maneuvering and throttle levers for speed adjustments. Initially, the Air Force considered using voice commands for controlling the aircraft, but this idea was deemed too risky and ultimately discarded. The cockpit canopy is both large and robust, having undergone a redesign to enhance its durability, as the original version did not meet longevity expectations. The aircraft's radio systems are seamlessly integrated into the controls, allowing for easy communication and navigation input via a keypad. Additionally, there are small displays strategically positioned to provide critical warnings and flight information, ensuring the pilot remains informed throughout the mission. The F-22 Raptor is equipped with an advanced main display that plays a crucial role in navigation. Alongside this, there are additional screens that provide tactical information and help manage weapon systems to maintain stealth during operations. Its communication system is designed to send signals only in specific directions, ensuring secure and targeted communication. When F-22 needs to communicate with each other, they use a unique data link that enhances coordination. Additionally, the aircraft features an automatic system that helps prevent crashes by detecting obstacles and terrain. For pilot safety, the F-22 includes a standard ejection seat similar to those found in many Air Force jets, with a special control mechanism located in the center for easy ejection in emergencies. To ensure the pilot's survival in challenging conditions, the F-22 has a sophisticated life support system. This system generates oxygen on board and includes specialized clothing that offers protection against various threats. It also has a valve that regulates airflow to the pilot's mask and gear, helping to manage G-forces and maintain proper pressure during flight. The pilot's clothing is designed to shield them from chemicals, cold water, and extreme temperatures. After some incidents where pilots experienced low oxygen levels, the system was improved significantly. Now it features a backup oxygen supply and a new valve integrated into the pilot's vest, ensuring their safety even in combat situations. The ejection seat of the fighter jet is designed for survival and comes equipped with a modified M4 carbine. This aircraft cleverly conceals 3 compartments for weapons, a large one located beneath the fuselage, and 2 smaller ones on the sides near the engines. Additionally, there are tiny compartments for countermeasures, like flares, situated behind the side compartments. The spacious central compartment can accommodate up to 6 launchers for long-range missiles, while each side compartment is fitted with 1 launcher for short-range missiles. The primary missiles used by this fighter are the AIM-120 AMRAAM and the AIM-9 Sidewinder, with plans to include the AIM-260 JATM in the future. When it's time to launch a missile, the compartments open rapidly, and mechanical arms swiftly push the missiles out. This quick action helps the jet remain undetected and allows for missile deployment even during high-speed maneuvers. Additionally, there's a hidden 20mm cannon concealed in the right wing of the plane. The firing path of this cannon is displayed on the pilot's screen, ensuring precision targeting. While the main compartment is mainly intended for missiles, it can also hold bombs, allowing the aircraft to carry a total weight of up to 2,000 pounds. Although it can transport GPS-guided bombs, it cannot guide laser-targeted weapons independently. Generally, the fighter jet carries its weapons inside, maintaining a sleek and stealthy profile. The F-22 fighter jet has 4 strong mounting points on its wings, each capable of holding up to 5,000 pounds. These points are designed to carry various attachments, such as fuel tanks or missile launchers. The 2 inner points are specifically made for fuel tanks, while the 2 outer ones now hold special pods that support the plane's advanced systems. If necessary, the aircraft can release the external fuel tanks to maintain its stealth and performance. To ensure the F-22 operates effectively, it undergoes maintenance every 300 hours of flight, a process that takes about 3 weeks to complete. The stealth coatings used on the jet are more advanced than those on older stealth aircraft, but they faced challenges when the jets were deployed to Guam in 2009. The coatings struggled to withstand the rain and moisture, which affected their durability. Maintaining the F-22's stealth capabilities requires significant time and attention, especially for its coatings. To address this, efforts are underway to develop stronger and more resilient coatings. The major maintenance work for the F-22 takes place at the Ogden Air Logistics Complex, located at Hill Air Force Base in Utah. Because there are limited numbers of these jets in service, extreme care must be taken during maintenance. There is no backup if something goes wrong during the process, so the technicians must be careful to ensure the aircraft remains in top condition. In 2015, the F-22 Raptors were ready for missions 63% of the time, a significant improvement from just 40% when they were first introduced in 2005. The amount of maintenance required for each hour of flight has also dramatically decreased, from 30 hours in 2005 to just 10.5 hours by 2009. This is a big drop from the previous average of 12 hours. Interestingly, in 2014, maintenance workers logged an average of 43 hours for every hour the F-22 was in the air. Initially, the F-22 required maintenance every 1.7 hours of flight, which was better than the 3 hours expected initially. However, by 2012, that maintenance time had risen to 32 hours. As of the fiscal year 2015, the operational cost for each hour of flight reached $59.6 billion. But the F-22's design is not static. It has recently undergone a series of enhancements aimed at improving its capabilities. In Dayton, Ohio, the U.S. Air Force and Lockheed Martin have launched the second phase of annual updates for the F-22 fleet. These updates will include software improvements and quick upgrades, setting a new standard for how future aircraft maintenance will be handled. Even so, the Air Force plans to retire the F-22 once the highly classified next-generation air dominance platform is ready to take its place. The U.S. Air Force invests heavily in keeping its aircraft current and effective. For fiscal year 2025, the Air Force has allocated a substantial budget of $3.5 billion for research, development, testing, and evaluation of its fleet. Over the next 5 years, they plan to spend an impressive $19.5 billion. Dale White, the Program Executive Officer for Fighters and Advanced Aircraft at the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, emphasized that these investments are crucial for ensuring the F-22 can address both present and future threats. He also shared with reporters that the advancements made for the F-22 will pave the way for the development of future technologies, including the next-generation air dominance program. After completing a significant upgrade on the F-22, known as Increment 3.2B, between 2020 and 2021, Lockheed Martin, in collaboration with the Air Force, has turned its attention to a new initiative called the Raptor Agile Capable Release Program. The first phase of this program was completed in 2022 and focused on enhancing the jet's hardware, enabling it to transmit Link 16 data, which is vital for effective communication and coordination in modern combat scenarios. The second phase of the F-22 upgrade program, known as Ray 2, is a software improvement that has just been approved and is currently being implemented. Following this, the third phase, called Release 3, is expected to roll out in about 12 to 18 months. Meanwhile, the U.S. Air Force and Lockheed Martin are working on enhancing the F-22's range by testing low-drag fuel tanks and pylons, but these upgrades will only start after the completion of the second phase, which includes the RACA Release 2 installation. These upgrades are being conducted under the Advanced Raptor Enhancement and Sustainment Contract, valued at $10.9 billion. A significant milestone occurred on February 4, 2023, when an F-22 from the 1st Fighter Wing successfully shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. This occurred at an altitude of around 60,000 to 65,000 feet, marking the F-22's first confirmed air-to-air kill. The wreckage fell approximately 6 miles offshore and was later recovered by U.S. Navy and U.S. Coast Guard vessels. This program represents an important step in modernizing the F-22, making it more capable of future challenges. On February 10, F-22 fighter jets took down high-altitude objects near Alaska's coast, followed by another incident over Yukon on February 11. The U.S. Air Force plans to begin phasing out the F-22 by the 2030s, as it is set to be replaced by the next-generation air dominance crewed fighter. On May 2021, Air Force Chief of Staff Charles Q. Brown Jr. discussed plans for streamlining the number of fighter fleets, envisioning what he called a 4+1 approach. This would consist of the NGAD replacing the F-22, along with the F-35A, the F-15E, and the F-16. The A-10, originally part of the plan, will be retired earlier than expected and removed from this lineup. The NGAD fighter, short for Next Generation Air Dominance, represents the core of an advanced military technology program designed to ensure U.S. air superiority. This high-tech program is not just limited to the NGAD fighter, but also includes cutting-edge sensors, weapons, unmanned aerial vehicles, propulsion systems, stealth technology, and more. Like the Raptor, the NGAD will be packed with groundbreaking features, particularly in stealth technology, which has only been utilized for one generation of fighters so far. According to the Air Force, the upcoming NGAD fighter will surpass the stealth capabilities of the current F-22 Raptor by introducing a cutting-edge triangular design without vertical stabilizers. This marks the first time in aviation history that a fighter jet will be unveiled with such a groundbreaking design. Previously, vertical stabilizers were essential for keeping planes stable in flight. Until the development of active flow control, which was first seen in the B-2 Spirit. This feature made the B-2 Spirit the stealthiest aircraft ever created. The NGAD fighter will take stealth to a new level, equipped with advanced sensors designed to detect threats long before they can detect the NGAD. These sensors will be so sensitive that they can identify threats from miles away. Instead of traditional externally mounted sensors, the NGAD will use smart skins that are seamlessly integrated into the aircraft's body, allowing for maximum detection capability. This data will not only protect the NGAD, but can also be shared in real time with other friendly units, ensuring the entire fleet stays updated on the battlefield situation. When it comes to firepower, the NGAD will be equipped with America's most lethal weaponry, including guns that can fire massive bullets, bombs, missiles, and possibly even laser weapons. Additionally, it will be supported by loyal wingmen, autonomous drones that can carry out dangerous missions, keeping the main fighter out of harm's way. With the NGAD's unmatched capabilities, the United States could secure its air dominance well into the future. This marks a monumental shift from the current 5th-generation Raptor to the 6th-generation NGAD, a leap that could solidify America's position as the world's leading air power. In the 2025 budget request, the NGAD program also includes upgrades such as Mode 5 Identification Friend or Foe, the Link 16 Communication System, and the Multifunctional Information Distribution System, Joint Tactical Radio System. Other advancements include radar electronic protection, an embedded GPS inertial navigation system modernization, and a new software architecture called GRACE. A new helmet is being tested under the Next Generation Fixed Wing Helmet program, which will replace the 40-year-old HGU-55P headgear. This helmet will feature line-of-sight displays that help pilots aim weapons and reduce their workload, further enhancing their combat effectiveness. Everyone thought Russia's prize Su-57 Felon was invincible, but in a shocking twist of events that left even Elon Musk speechless, this sleek, shadowy aircraft worth billions of dollars, armed with devastating firepower, was reduced to twisted metal by a precision strike. As rumors go round about SpaceX's secret fighter jet program, could this be the moment when Silicon Valley disrupts aerial warfare forever? Has Russia's mighty Air Force finally met its match? Join us as we unveil the SpaceX fighter jet capable of beating the Su-57. The battle for aerial supremacy has taken an unexpected turn. As Russia's prize Su-57 demonstrates vulnerability in Ukraine, Silicon Valley titan Elon Musk steps into the ring with a groundbreaking concept that could revolutionize aerial warfare. What makes this showdown particularly fascinating is the stark contrast between old-school military might and cutting-edge innovation. SpaceX's X-1 is a radical departure from conventional fighter design. Unlike the Su-57's focus on raw power and speed, the X-1 embraces future-forward thinking with its autonomous capabilities and revolutionary propulsion system. Its compact space shuttle engine and advanced stealth features allow it to achieve hypersonic speeds of 4,600 miles per hour, more than twice the Su-57's top speed. The X-1's game-changing microwave technology can disrupt enemy electronics and even melt aircraft components, making traditional dogfighting tactics obsolete. The numbers tell a compelling story. While Russia struggles to maintain its small fleet of Su-57s, America's F-35 program has produced over 1,000 aircraft. SpaceX's X-1 aims to bridge the gap between these traditional fighters and the future of aerial combat. Its ability to operate at altitudes above 105,000 feet, well beyond the reach of conventional fighters, combines with AI-driven combat systems to create an entirely new class of aircraft. This clash between old and new represents more than just a technological rivalry, but a glimpse into the future of warfare. As Musk boldly stated, the fighter jet era has passed, and with autonomous drones and AI-driven combat systems becoming more sophisticated, traditional pilots might soon find themselves sharing the skies with intelligent machines. The success of the X-1 program could mark the beginning of a new chapter in military aviation, where the limitations of human pilots no longer constrain aircraft design and combat capabilities. As cutting-edge fighter jets reshape modern warfare, one question lingers in the minds of military experts worldwide. Could Russia's most advanced warplane be more vulnerable than anyone imagined? The Su-57, Russia's pride and joy in military aviation, is ambitious engineering, but with a surprising twist. Unlike America's F-35, which boasts over 1,000 aircraft in service, only 32 Su-57 have ever taken to the skies. This rarity makes each plane incredibly precious, like owning one of only 32 limited edition sports cars in the entire world. What makes the Su-57 special isn't just its scarcity. The aircraft combines stealth technology with impressive maneuverability, thanks to its unique design features. Its body is carefully shaped to avoid radar detection, while special materials help it stay hidden from enemy sensors. Two powerful engines allow it to perform amazing aerial maneuvers that would leave most pilots breathless, while its advanced computers help the pilot track multiple targets at once. But even the most advanced technology isn't immune to warfare's harsh realities. In June 2024, Ukrainian forces achieved something unprecedented, successfully striking a Su-57 at Akbank Air Base, roughly 366 miles from the front lines. This marked the first time in history that a fifth-generation stealth fighter was destroyed by enemy action, sending shockwaves through military circles worldwide. The loss highlighted both the Su-57's sophisticated capabilities and its vulnerabilities. Despite its advanced stealth features and defensive systems, the aircraft proved susceptible to well-planned attacks when caught on the ground. This single strike dealt a significant blow to Russia's Air Force, as losing one Su-57 meant losing about 3% of the entire fleet. The incident also revealed interesting details about how Russia uses these precious aircraft. Rather than risking them in direct combat over Ukraine, most Su-57s operate from deep within Russian territory, launching long-range missiles from relative safety. This cautious approach suggests that while Russia proudly showcases the Su-50's capabilities, they're well aware of each aircraft's irreplaceable value. Adding to the complexity, Russia faces significant challenges in producing more Su-57s. While designed to compete with America's best fighters, manufacturing difficulties and economic constraints have severely limited production. Each aircraft requires sophisticated components and careful assembly, making rapid replacement of lost units nearly impossible. Compare this to the F-35's steady production line, which can replace losses much more quickly. As the Su-57's vulnerability becomes increasingly apparent, a bigger question emerges. What makes these mysterious, fifth-generation fighters so special that losing just one can shake the confidence of an entire nation's military? The world of fighter jets has evolved dramatically since the first planes took to the skies. Today, only 4 countries have managed to create these advanced aircraft, known as fifth-generation fighters: the United States with its F-22 and F-35, Russia with the Su-57, and China with the J-20. What sets these planes apart from older fighters is their combination of special features. Fifth-generation fighters have stealth technology that helps them hide from radar, advanced computers that give pilots a complete picture of everything happening around them, and powerful engines that let them perform incredible maneuvers in the air. The F-22 Raptor, America's first fifth-generation fighter, was designed specifically for air combat. It's like a boxing champion of the skies, extremely agile and powerful. The F-35 Lightning II came next, built to be more versatile. It can fight other planes, attack ground targets, and even take off and land vertically in some versions, like a high-tech helicopter. Russia's Su-57 took a different approach. Its designers wanted to create a fighter that could do everything well, rather than specializing in just one area. They gave it powerful engines for speed and maneuverability, advanced sensors to detect enemies from far away, and special materials to help it stay hidden from radar. However, building these planes proved much harder than expected, which is why Russia has so few of them. China's J-20 is the newest member of this elite club. Like the Su-57, it was designed to match American fighters, but with China's twist. It's bigger than the others and focuses on long-range missions, carrying extra fuel and weapons inside its body to maintain its stealth capabilities. What makes these planes truly special is their ability to work together with other military equipment. They can share information instantly with other aircraft, ground forces, and command centers. It is like playing a video game where you can see everything happening on the battlefield at once. But having advanced technology isn't enough. Pilots need extensive training to use all these capabilities effectively. They spend hundreds of hours in sophisticated simulators before ever stepping into a real aircraft. The maintenance crews also need special training, as keeping these planes in top condition is like taking care of a Formula One race car where every detail matters. The most fascinating aspect of fifth-generation fighters is how they've changed modern warfare. In the past, pilots had to get close to see their targets. Now these planes can detect threats from far away and share that information with their entire team. They can sneak past enemy defenses that would stop older aircraft, strike their targets, and disappear before anyone knows they are there. However, owning these advanced fighters comes with challenges. They're extremely expensive to build and maintain. The special coatings that help them avoid radar detection need constant care. Their complex computer systems require regular updates, like your smartphone. And finding replacement parts can be difficult, especially for countries like Russia that face international sanctions. Looking to the future, these aircraft continue to evolve. Engineers are working on ways to make them even more capable, adding artificial intelligence to help pilots make decisions faster, developing new weapons that can fit inside their stealth bodies, and improving their ability to work together with unmanned aircraft. As these advanced fighters reshape modern warfare, a fascinating question emerges. How do these metal giants manage to become practically invisible to radar? And which fighter does it better? The F-35 or the Su-57? The F-35 Lightning II takes stealth very seriously. From the very beginning, its designers at Lockheed Martin approached the project like architects building a house that needs to be invisible from every angle. They carefully aligned its edges, created special skin panels with sawtooth patterns, and covered the entire aircraft with materials that absorb radar waves instead of bouncing them back. Even the engine, which generates a lot of heat and could be easily spotted, is hidden behind special covers made of radar-absorbing fiber material that's easy to maintain. The result is remarkable on radar screens. The F-35 appears no bigger than a metal golf ball, making it extremely difficult to detect. The plane's stealth capabilities don't stop at radar. Its designers also worked hard to reduce its heat signature and visual signature. They even developed special controls to manage radio signals the plane might emit, ensuring it stays as hidden as possible. And the Su-57 takes a different approach to stealth. While it's Russia's first aircraft to focus on being stealthy, its designers at Sukhoi chose to prioritize frontal stealth, making the plane harder to detect from the front. They achieved this by carefully angling the wing's leading and trailing edges and using special panels that help control how radar waves bounce off the aircraft. The Su-57's cockpit canopy is particularly clever, featuring special metal oxide coatings 70 to 90 nanometers thick, which is thinner than human hair, that reduce radar reflection by 30% and protect the pilot from harmful radiation. However, the Su-57's stealthy design has some limitations. The back half of the aircraft isn't as optimized for stealth as the F-35's, possibly because of cost constraints or because Russian military planners expect the aircraft to operate under the protection of their ground-based air defense systems. This design choice reflects a different military strategy from the American approach. Interestingly, both aircraft share a common vulnerability. They can be spotted by older, low-frequency radars due to Rayleigh scattering. Think of this like trying to hide behind a chain-link fence. From certain angles and distances, you're still visible. However, this is where the similarity ends for these two fighters' stealth capabilities. The F-35's comprehensive approach to stealth has proven highly effective in real-world operations. Since entering service, it has successfully conducted missions in complex threat environments where older aircraft would struggle to survive. The Israeli Air Force, which first used the F-35 in combat in 2018, has particularly praised its ability to operate undetected in heavily defended airspace. The Su-57's stealth capabilities, while impressive for Russia's first attempt at a stealth fighter, represent a different design philosophy. Rather than trying to be invisible from all angles like the F-35, it focuses on being highly effective in specific combat scenarios, particularly when approaching targets head-on. This approach aligns with Russian military doctrine, which emphasizes integrated air defense systems working together with aircraft to control airspace. Modern air combat continues to evolve, with stealth technology playing an increasingly crucial role. The different approaches taken by the F-35 and Su-57 demonstrate that there's more than one way to achieve stealth capabilities, with each design reflecting its nation's military needs, technological capabilities, and combat doctrine. After exploring the stealth capabilities of these advanced fighters, one crucial question remains. How do these aircraft achieve the incredible power needed to outmaneuver enemies while maintaining their stealth characteristics? The F-35 and Su-57 take very different approaches to power and performance. The F-35 relies on a single, highly advanced Pratt & Whitney F-135 engine that produces 43,000 pounds of thrust with an afterburner, enough power to launch a small rocket. What makes this engine special isn't just its power, but how it maintains stealth. Special curved vanes and radar-absorbing materials hide the hot engine parts from enemy radar, while a unique sawtooth pattern at the back helps reduce both radar and heat signatures. The Su-57 takes a different path, using two NPO Saturn engines that together create over 63 pounds of thrust. This twin-engine design gives the Russian fighter more raw power, allowing it to reach speeds of Mach 2, twice the speed of sound. The F-35, by comparison, tops out at Mach 1.6. However, having two engines also means more complexity and maintenance challenges. One of the most impressive features of these engines is how they help the aircraft move in ways that seem to defy physics. The Su-57's engines can tilt in different directions, allowing the plane to perform incredible maneuvers. Like a gymnast who can twist and turn in any direction, that's what these thrust vectoring engines let the Su-57 do in the air. The F-35B version goes even further, with a lift fan system that lets it take off and land vertically like a helicopter. Both aircraft showcase remarkable engineering in managing engine heat and noise. The F-35's engine includes an integrated power package that handles everything from starting the engine to controlling the aircraft's temperature. This system helps keep the plane's heat signature low, making it harder for enemies to detect. The Su-57's new engines, currently being developed, promise even better performance with reduced radar and heat signatures. Looking to the future, both fighters are set to receive engine upgrades. The F-35 is getting an enhanced engine core that will provide 5% more thrust and better fuel efficiency. The Su-57 is planned to receive new AL-51F1 engines that will increase its power even further while improving its stealth capabilities. These improvements show how fighter jet technology continues to evolve, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in military aviation. The stark difference in approach will be the F-35's focus on efficiency and stealth versus the Su-57's emphasis on raw power and maneuverability, which reflects each country's military philosophy and technological capabilities. The F-35's more integrated design has proven more successful in terms of production numbers and reliability, while the Su-57's powerful but complex system faces ongoing development challenges. This battle between power and stealth continues to drive innovation in fighter jet design. As engines become more advanced, engineers face the constant challenge of balancing performance with stealth, reliability with complexity, and cost with capability. The winner of this technological race might well determine the future of air combat. As the F-35's twin engines roar with impressive power and maneuverability, one might wonder, what advanced systems lie beneath the stealthy exterior that makes it one of the world's most sophisticated fighting machines? Modern fighter jets are like flying computers, packed with advanced technology that helps pilots understand their surroundings and make quick decisions. Let's look at how America's F-35 and Russia's Su-57 compare in their combat systems. Think of the F-35 as having a super smart brain that connects all its sensors. This brain uses 8.6 million lines of computer code, which is like having the instructions for 430 video games running at once. The plane combines a powerful radar that can spot targets from very far away with special cameras that can see in all directions, even at night. It also includes systems that can detect when other aircraft are trying to track the F-35, along with advanced communication equipment that lets the pilot share information with friendly forces. All these systems work together to give the pilot a complete picture of what's happening around them. just like having a 360-degree view in a video game. The pilot sees this information on a special helmet display, making it easier to spot and track targets. Russia's Su-57 also has impressive technology, though it works a bit differently. It uses a system called Information Management System that connects a main radar in the nose, two smaller radars in the sides of the plane, special sensors that can detect missiles, and cameras that help the pilots see at night and in bad weather. The Su-57 has about half the amount of computer code as the F-35, but it's still very capable. One unique feature is its ability to detect threats coming from any direction using special sensors built into the wings. Both planes can carry weapons inside their bodies to stay stealthy. The F-35 can carry up to 18,000 pounds of weapons, including air-to-air missiles for fighting other aircraft, bombs for ground targets, and a rapid-fire cannon that shoots 3,300 rounds per minute. The Su-50 even can carry slightly less weight in weapons, that is 16,500 pounds, but has similar types of missiles and bombs. Its cannon fires 1,500 rounds per minute but uses larger bullets. These planes have some impressive capabilities that seem like science fiction. They can share target information with friendly aircraft without giving away their position, while their computers can suggest the best weapons to use. They can detect threats from many miles away and have systems to protect themselves from enemy missiles. The F-55 has an edge in its ability to connect with other aircraft and ground forces, making it excellent for coordinating attacks. It can even control unmanned aircraft, like having robot wingmen. The Su-57 has unique features too, including a special system that can tell when parts of the plane need maintenance, similar to how your phone tells you when it needs charging. While both aircraft are impressive on paper, real-world experience is showing their true capabilities. The F-35 has proven itself in various missions around the world, with over 1,000 aircraft built and serving in multiple countries. The Su-57, with only 32 built, has had limited combat experience, though it continues to evolve and improve. Both planes are designed to accept upgrades to their systems over time, like getting a new system with better features. The F-35 is scheduled to receive new radar and processing systems, while the Su-57 is testing advanced artificial intelligence systems. These fighters represent the current peak of aircraft technology, combining stealth, advanced sensors, and powerful computers to give their pilots an edge in combat. Their capabilities continue to grow as new technologies are developed, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in aerial warfare. Is the world about to witness something more advanced than the exceptional sixth-generation aircraft? Right after the sixth-generation aircraft made headlines and sparked excitement with its advanced features and potential to change military strategies, rumors about the arrival of an even more advanced seventh-generation jet began to emerge. These news have captured the imagination of aviation experts and nations alike. But are these next-generation fighters real? And what groundbreaking capabilities could they bring to the skies? Join us as we explore the capabilities of the first seventh-generation fighter jet that has been finally unveiled. Is the future already here, or is it just around the corner? While the sixth-generation aircraft program is still a work in progress, BAE Systems is already looking ahead to what comes next in air combat. But what's even more fascinating? They're talking about the mysterious seventh-generation combat aircraft, a plane so advanced that by the time it arrives, even the term generation might be obsolete. At a media roundtable that took place last year, Mike Balkwell, the company's Combat Air Strategy Director, hinted that aircraft will no longer fit into neatly defined categories. Instead, they will evolve constantly, transforming through software updates and new technologies. He further revealed that future aircraft will have flexible designs that can be easily updated and changed. This means that instead of being limited to specific generations, aircrafts will be defined by how well they can adapt to new technologies. Another BAE executive, Johnny Morton, added that future aircraft will depend a lot on software and data to handle new threats effectively. This approach allows for continuous improvement and quick responses to challenges. BAE Systems and its partners are working on sixth-generation air combat technology under the UK's Future Combat Air System program, collaborating with Italy and Japan as part of the Global Combat Air Program. They plan to introduce this advanced technology by 2035. During the event, BAE revealed its long-term vision for air power, covering the next 25 years. This includes the use of 5th and 6th generation aircraft working alongside drones, which will extend the lifespan of older jets like the Eurofighter Typhoon. These drones would act as loyal wingmen, supporting manned jets and allowing air forces to be more flexible and effective in combat. As BAE looks ahead to 2046, envisioning fully operational 6th generation fighters and possibly even 7th generation aircraft, the balance between advanced technology and maintaining a strong defense remains a central challenge. But BAE isn't alone in this race toward the future. Across the globe, programs like the U.S. Next Generation Air Dominance, or NGAD initiative, are pushing the boundaries of air combat innovation, with the goal of replacing the iconic F-22 Raptor by the 2030s. NGAD is working on a new fighter jet that promises to redefine air superiority for years to come. At least one of the prototypes, out of 3 or more, flew in 2020. Now the program is moving into the engineering and development stage, with a mind-blowing amount of $16 billion planned for research, testing, and development over the next 5 years. The program will be highly profitable. The winner-takes-all approach is used to make sure the Pentagon owns the design's intellectual property from the start, avoiding problems like those with the F-35 and allowing for easier upgrades and fixes. Since 2015, the U.S. Congress has given more than $4.2 billion to the NGAD program to help replace or upgrade the F-22 jets by 2030. While there hasn't been much recent news about NGAD or the Navy's similar F/AXX program, there's still a lot to learn about NGAD's progress. The main goal of NGAD is to build advanced technologies that give the United States full control of the skies in battle, keeping enemy planes and missiles from posing a serious threat. It is not just a replacement for a 5th-generation airfighter. The NGAD is about much more. It's pushing the limits to ensure the U.S. stays ahead with powerful new air dominance technologies. Air superiority, as the Department of Defense defines it, means having such complete control of the skies that missions can be executed without any serious threats from enemy forces. This is what the 6th-generation aircraft is being designed to achieve. But aside from dominating the skies and being equipped with the latest technologies, this aircraft is unique. The NGAD program might go far beyond just one new aircraft. It could introduce a whole network of advanced systems, including manned and unmanned vehicles, cyber warfare tools, and electronic weapons. These designs could be radically different from traditional jets, shaping the future of air combat in ways we've never seen before. Right now, there's no indication that the Air Force is working on a classic dogfighting fighter jet. But in June 2022, they announced that NGAD's cutting-edge technologies had reached a new milestone, allowing the program to shift into its next phase: engineering, manufacturing, and design. As part of NGAD, the Air Force is developing 4 key technologies, one of which is the propulsion system. Through the Advanced Engine Technology Program, they're aiming for engines that generate more power while staying cool, setting the stage for faster, stronger, and more efficient aircraft. What really sets NGAD apart is its focus on uncrewed systems. In 2022, Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall confirmed that drones are being developed to support the program. Though details remain classified, experts believe these drones could play key roles in intelligence gathering, electronic warfare, or carrying additional weapons into battle. The NGAD program is also pushing the limits with new composite materials and advanced designs. According to the 2022 budget, the Air Force is aiming for cost-effective manufacturing, especially for uncrewed vehicles. The next-gen fighter could feature advanced radar, infrared sensors, and enhanced cameras, bringing a futuristic edge to air combat. In June 2022, NGAD set its sights high with a staggering $1.6 billion budget request for 2023, laying the groundwork for a massive $11.7 billion spend between 2024 and 2027. The NGAD jet will work with collaborative combat aircraft drones, which will have their own contract. Also, teaming between manned and unmanned systems will be key to the NGAD's success. The USAF plans to buy at least 200 NGAD jets, maybe 250 and 1,000 CCAs. Although the exact price of each jet is not known, it is expected to cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but will be cheaper to operate than the F-22. What's even more jaw-dropping is Secretary Kendall's revelation. Each aircraft will come with a price tag in the hundreds of millions. With that level of investment, these next-generation fighters are poised to be some of the most advanced and expensive machines ever to take to the skies. So which aviation giant is taking charge of crafting this futuristic fighter? The answer isn't clear yet. While multiple companies are in the race, the Air Force is keeping things under wraps. In May, it quietly called for contract bids and plans to reveal the chosen players in 2024. Lockheed Martin and Boeing are top contenders since Northrop Grumman decided not to bid. But Textron and General Atomics are also in the mix. There are also speculations that Northrop may still bid on the Navy's sixth-generation F/A-XX program. What makes this sixth-generation fighter stand out isn't just the technology, it's also changing the Air Force's entire approach to buying and building aircraft. Instead of handing everything to one company, they're splitting contracts for design, production, and maintenance, opening the door for more competition. Even companies that aren't big names in military aviation could get involved. This shift may be a direct response to the lessons learned from the F-35 program, the most expensive weapons system in DoD history, with a mind-blowing $1.7 trillion price tag. Though over 900 F-35s have been delivered, the program has been plagued with delays, rising costs, and tech hiccups, like issues with its cooling system. The NGAD project aims to avoid those missteps while pushing the future of air combat forward. For the next few years, NGAD will likely stay focused on research, with production aircraft or systems expected around 2030. Even once the design is ready, it could take years to build the factories needed due to the complexity of manufacturing. Budget issues or pressure from Congress could also slow things down. Meanwhile, the Navy is working on a similar program called F/AXX, requesting $9 billion for a new fighter jet that is aimed at replacing the F/A-18 EOF Super Hornets. While the program shares similarities with the U.S. Air Force's NGAD, the Navy's version will be designed for carrier-based operations and might feature a two-seater model. The F/AXX isn't a brand new plane, but an upgraded version with advanced stealth features like hidden engine fans and internal weapons bays, making it harder to detect by radar. It's designed to carry a range of weapons, including hypersonic missiles, all while keeping a low profile. This airfighter will integrate sophisticated AI for data management, flight control, and coordination with drones, effectively making it a combat hub. It will feature a custom helmet for pilots instead of a traditional heads-up display, improving situational awareness. The jet is expected to have superior maneuverability and utilize an adaptive cycle engine capable of switching between high thrust and fuel efficiency, built with rugged landing gear for carrier operations. The F/AXX is set to include thrust vectoring and canards for improved performance and maneuverability. It might even offer an optional unmanned capability, allowing it to withstand higher G-forces and take on the role of a drone commander. The XX in its name signifies that it's still a work in progress, while the FA highlights its focus on attack missions, connecting it to the legacy of the F/A-18 Hornet and Super Hornet. This advanced fighter aims for an open architecture design, meaning it can easily swap out various sensors, payloads, and weapons to meet different mission requirements on any given day. Its success will likely hinge on new propulsion systems being developed in the aircraft industry. While the Navy is teaming up with the U.S. Air Force to create a next-generation tactical fighter capable of supercruising, flying at supersonic speeds without afterburners, there's a major debate about whether the Air Force's adaptive cycle jet engine technology, which optimizes airflow for better efficiency, can be successfully scaled for a carrier-based fighter. In February, Chief of Naval Operations Jonathan Greener laid emphasis on a shift in focus for the new aircraft, moving away from the speed and stealth of older jets due to advancements in detection and anti-aircraft technology. Instead, this next-generation fighter will blend stealth, advanced technology, agility, and speed with a range of advanced weapons to breach enemy defenses and ensure both survivability and dominance. One strategy could involve a cost-effective F/AXX equipped with high-performance, expensive weapons to tackle emerging threats. According to the Navy's Naval Integrated Fire Control Counter-Air concept, the aircraft won't need all its sensors on board. It will leverage data from external sources for targeting and weapon guidance. This design aims to carry missiles, incorporate directed energy weapon systems, utilize sensors for pinpointing small radar targets, and include tactical cyber warfare capabilities, all as part of a comprehensive approach to modern combat. As the U.S. refines its approach to aerial warfare, other nations are making strides of their own. For instance, China is also developing a sixth-generation fighter, although details remain scarce. Images released in Chinese media suggest a design that closely resembles U.S. concepts, raising questions about originality. Some reports indicate that China's fighter may be unveiled just a month after the U.S. reveals its next-generation air dominance program. China is also upgrading its J-20 fighter to meet sixth-generation standards, potentially serving as the foundation for new aircraft. While the design closely resembles the J-20, it appears less refined. Notably, they are replacing the J-20's Russian AL-31F engines with their own WS-15 engines, suggesting that future jets will likely utilize Chinese-made engines. In contrast, Russia is solely focused on its sixth-generation project, the MiG-41, designed as an interceptor to succeed the MiG-31. This aircraft initially aims to begin test flights in 2025 and be operational by 2028, boasting impressive speeds up to Mach 4 and capabilities to counter satellites and hypersonic missiles. However, the ongoing war in Ukraine has hindered its development, pushing the timeline to a likely completion between 2030 and 2035, aligning it with other nations' sixth-generation fighters. Also, the Global Combat Air Program, also known as GCAP, a partnership between Italy, the United Kingdom, and Japan, has also made significant strides. This partnership is aimed at creating a sixth-generation stealth fighter. This new jet will replace the Eurofighter Typhoon, used by the Royal and Italian Air Forces, and Japan's Mitsubishi F-2. At the 2024 Farnborough International Air Show, the group revealed its new sixth-generation fighter design. What advanced features will this aircraft have, and when can we expect it to enter service? Let's explore. At first, these countries worked on separate fighters. The UK planned the Tempest fighter and revealed a model in 2018. In 2019, the UK and Sweden agreed to work together, with Italy joining later. However, Sweden left the project. Japan was also working on its own next-generation jet around the same time. Since their goals were similar, Japan, the UK, and Italy decided to combine their efforts in 2022, forming the GCAP. They made it official with a treaty in 2023. In 2022, the UK and Japan agreed to work together on a new fighter engine and explore future air combat technology, setting the stage for the GCAP. Each country has its own role in the project. At the Farnborough Air Show on July 22, the three nations revealed a new concept model for their next-gen fighter. Britain's BAE Systems, Italy's Leonardo, and Japan's Mitsubishi Heavy Industries teamed up to create this advanced design. The aircraft has a wider crank delta wingspan, which improves aerodynamics, allowing it to fly farther, faster, and carry more weapons and fuel. However, this new design reduces maneuverability compared to earlier concepts like the 2018 Tempest and Japan's original fighter idea. British aviation journalist Gareth Jennings compared the new model's larger wingspan to the retired American F-111 Aardvark bomber. However, while the F-111 flew at very low altitudes to avoid defenses, the GCAP will rely on stealth and long-range missiles. This makes it more like the F-22, a proposed long-range version of the F-22 Raptor, which also had a wide delta wing. Unlike the F-22, the GCAP will be built for both air-to-air and ground attack missions. While the F-22 was meant to support F-22s in air-to-air combat, the GCAP will be good at both roles. The updated design shows the team is likely trading some agility for more range and payload, which they see as increasingly important for ground attack, anti-ship missions, and even air-to-air combat. This aircraft will mix key features of fifth-generation fighters with new elements expected for sixth-generation jets. These include advanced data links that let it connect sensors and weapons with allied forces, helmets that give pilots a virtual see-through view of the cockpit, while also monitoring their mental state to help if they're overwhelmed or unconscious, and built-in AI to assist with tasks. It will also have adaptive engines that can switch during flight for better performance or fuel efficiency, better engine cooling, and electric generators producing 10 times more power for sensors and future energy weapons. The GCAP fighter is also expected to work alongside unmanned aircraft, similar to the U.S. Air Force's collaborative combat aircraft. Leonardo says it will be one of the most advanced, adaptable, and connected jets in the world, featuring smart weapon systems, a software-based cockpit, integrated sensors, and a next-gen radar that delivers 10,000 times more data than current systems. While the GCAP partners already use stealthy F-35B jets, they aim to create their own next-gen stealth jet that can fly farther and carry more weapons inside than the F-35. Importantly, this new jet will be free from U.S. export restrictions, making it easier to integrate their own missile systems like the MBDA Meteor, Spear-3, and Japan's ASM-3 and JANM missiles. The GCAP fighter jet is planned to enter service by 2035, with development starting next year. A flying prototype is already in production and is set to take off in 2027. This demo jet will feature an internal weapons bay, a Martin Baker ejection seat, and EJ-200 engines from the Typhoon fighter, though with stealthy S-shaped inlets instead of GCAP's future engines. Additionally, a Boeing 757-200 called Excalibur will be converted into a test plane for GCAP systems. It will start testing in 2026, focusing on radar, sensors, communications, and defense systems. According to Herman Clown, managing director of the program at BAE Systems, all industry partners in the UK, Italy, and Japan are moving forward with the design based on shared requirements. Clown also mentioned that the U.S. Air Force's reconsideration of its NGAD program hasn't impacted GCAP's planning. Clown stated that he had all the funding needed for the program at that moment, which aligned with the views of both Italy and Japan. He noted that the total budget was not yet publicly available, but it was known that the previous UK Conservative government had committed to spending €2 billion on GCAP by 2025 and an additional €12 billion overall. However, it remained uncertain whether the Labour Party would maintain this level of funding. He further revealed that while previous multinational fighter programs had suffered from differing national requirements, the partners had agreed on a single design document for GCAP. The UK and Italy aimed for GCAP to eventually replace their Typhoon fighters, while Japan needed it more urgently to replace its F-2 jets, which were experiencing severe wing cracking problems. Clown emphasized that future exports of the aircraft were a key priority. He added that Saudi Arabia, which had been denied F-35 sales, had expressed interest in joining GCAP, but had not yet been invited due to objections from Japan. He also noted that Sweden had been in talks to join the program, but had withdrawn, indicating it would reconsider in 2031. The world is on the brink of war, and world powers are readying their arsenals for battle. As rivals of the United States continue to advance in terms of technology, the U.S. has also put all hands on deck and unveiled something extremely powerful and unbeatable. With an investment of $800 billion, the United States has taken dominance of the seas and developed the most advanced aircraft carrier in the world. What are the capabilities of these vessels? Is it truly the most powerful in the world? Join us as we unveil the incredible features of the billion-dollar vessel that the U.S. recently revealed, shocking the world. This formidable vessel, the USS Gerald R. Ford, is the first of the Navy's newest Ford-class aircraft carriers. It's been almost 40 years since the Navy introduced a new generation of carriers, and the Ford has made history by being the first. With advanced technology and improvements across various systems compared to older carriers, the Ford is more modern and innovative. It's not just continuing past traditions, it's creating its own future with cutting-edge advancements. The USS Gerald R. Ford began its journey when the keel was laid, marking the official start of construction. In earlier times, ships were built with wooden beams, but for modern giants like the Ford, a strong steel beam set the foundation. Shipbuilders and Navy personnel gathered to witness this important milestone. Years later, the Ford was proudly commissioned into active service, taking its place among the Navy's most powerful vessels. Not long after, the flight deck roared to life when an F/A-18F Super Hornet touched down, marking the ship's first-ever aircraft landing. This aircraft carrier then embarked on an intense period of testing, pushing its systems to the limit. The ship performed exceptionally well during sea trials, crew training, and system activations, proving its readiness for the challenges ahead. But one of the most dramatic moments came when the Ford withstood 3 powerful underwater explosions, demonstrating its ability to continue operating even under extreme combat conditions. With its flight deck certified and air traffic control systems ready, the Ford's crew launched into action, carrying out flight operations with Super Hornets, Hawkeyes, and Seahawks. These exercises tested the ship's capabilities and prepared it for future missions. The ship and its crew have gained invaluable experience and are ready to take on the world with their first full deployment, set to make history. The Gerald R. Ford-class aircraft carriers represent the latest advancements in naval engineering, featuring several key upgrades over previous designs. These carriers are equipped with advanced arresting gear, which ensures safer and more efficient aircraft landings. Automation technology has also reduced the crew size by several hundred compared to the Nimitz class, cutting overall operational costs. The class boasts enhanced defense systems, including the RIM 162 Evolved Sea Sparrow missile and the AN/Spy-3 X-band multifunction radar, paired with the AN/Spy-4S band volume search radar as part of the dual-band radar system. Starting with the John F. Kennedy, the AN/Spy-6 will replace the AN/Spy-4, further enhancing the ship's radar capabilities. Another major leap in technology is the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS, replacing traditional steam catapults, and a new A-1B nuclear reactor that significantly boosts power generation. The carriers are also designed with stealth features, making them harder to detect on radar. Capable of carrying up to 90 aircraft, the Ford class can accommodate a variety of planes, including the F/A-18E/F Super Hornet, EA-18G Growler, F-35C Lightning II, and unmanned aerial vehicles, along with helicopters like the SH-60 Seahawk. The island has been moved further away, providing more flight deck space and improving operational efficiency. These carriers are designed for intense, sustained operations, capable of launching 160 sorties per day for over 30 days with the ability to surge to 270 sorties. While this ambitious target has faced some skepticism, operational improvements still make the Ford-class carriers a significant leap forward, delivering enhanced combat capability and reduced lifetime costs compared to their predecessors. Another United States naval vessel that has earned the respect of several nations is the Zumwalt-class destroyer. It consists of 3 guided missile destroyers in the United States Navy. These ships are designed for multiple missions with an emphasis on stealth and land attacks. Their main purpose is to provide naval gunfire support, with secondary roles in surface warfare and anti-aircraft operations. The design came from the DD-21 Land Attack Destroyer program, originally named DDX, and was meant to fulfill a congressional requirement for naval fire support, taking over the roles of battleships. The destroyers are built around 2 advanced gun systems that have turrets capable of holding 920 rounds, along with special long-range land attack projectile ammunition. However, since LR-LAP production was canceled, the guns became unusable, and the Navy decided to focus the ships on surface warfare instead. Starting in 2023, the Navy plans to remove the AGS and replace them with hypersonic missiles. The Zumwalt-class ships are categorized as destroyers, but they are much larger than any other active destroyers or cruisers in the U.S. Navy. Their unique design aims for a low radar cross-section, which helps them avoid detection. They have a special hull shape that slopes inward above the waterline, reducing radar signals compared to traditional hull designs. These ships feature an integrated electric propulsion system, allowing electricity from turbogenerators to power electric motors, weapons, and other systems, like firefighting and automatic pipe rupture isolation. They are designed to need a smaller crew and to be cheaper to operate than similar warships. The first ship is named Zumwalt after Admiral Elmo Zumwalt and has the hull number DDG-1000. Originally, the plan was to build 32 ships with a research and development budget of $9.6 billion. However, due to rising costs, the number was cut to 24, then to 7. By July 2008, the Navy asked Congress to halt Zumwalt production and instead build more Arleigh Burke destroyers. Ultimately, only 3 Zumwalts were completed, and the construction costs rose to an average of $4.24 billion per ship. This is significantly higher than the cost of a nuclear-powered Virginia-class submarine, which is about $2.6 billion. With development costs now divided among just 3 ships instead of the originally planned 32, the total program cost per ship reached $22.5 billion. This significant increase in costs led to a breach of the Nunn-McCurdy Amendment. A spokesperson for the Naval Sea Systems Command stated that even though the Zumwalt-class destroyer is 40% larger than an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, its radar cross-section is more like that of a fishing boat. The ship's tumble-home hull and composite deckhouse help minimize radar signals. Overall, the destroyer's angled design makes it 50 times harder to detect on radar than a regular destroyer. The Zumwalt's acoustic signature is similar to that of Los Angeles-class submarines. Water flowing along the sides and cool air drawn in through the MAC help lower its infrared signature. The composite deckhouse holds many of the ship's sensors and electronics. In 2008, Defense News reported that there were issues sealing the composite panels in this area, but Northrop Grumman denied these problems. To improve the ship's visibility in non-combat situations, such as busy shipping channels or bad weather, the Navy is testing the addition of onboard reflectors to enhance radar detection. However, there are questions about the usefulness of the stealth features. The Zumwalt's main role is to provide naval surface fire support, which requires it to operate in crowded near-shore areas where large ships can be easily seen, and any surface ship loses its stealth when it fires guns or missiles. The United States is not the only country that's investing in its vessel, and the USS Gerald Ford is not the only nuclear-powered aircraft carrier that is built for multi-role fighters. Let's journey down to France and explore the capabilities of France's Charles de Gaulle, another nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. In 2001, the Charles de Gaulle took over from its older, conventionally powered predecessor, the Foch, which had served the French Navy for nearly 40 years. The French Navy began looking for a more advanced aircraft carrier in the mid-1970s, leading to the creation of the Charles de Gaulle. The ship's construction started in 1989, and it was launched a few years later. The Charles de Gaulle carrier was launched in May 1994, weighing 42,000 tons, making it the largest warship launched in Western Europe since 1950. Initially named Richelieu in 1986 by President François Mitterrand, it was later renamed Charles de Gaulle by Prime Minister Jacques Chirac a year later. The construction faced several delays due to funding shortages and the economic recession, with work stopping 4 times in the early 1990s. The total cost exceeded 3 billion euros, and the ship was finally commissioned in 2001, 5 years late. In 1999, during sea trials, it was discovered that the Charles de Gaulle needed a longer flight deck to safely operate the A2C Hawkeye. Though the extension cost 5 million francs, it was a tiny fraction of the total budget. On its final trial in 2000, the ship's port propeller broke, forcing a return to Toulon for repairs. The supplier was blamed for poor construction, and soon after, a fire destroyed its archives. Temporary propellers from the Clemenceau were installed, limiting the carrier's speed to 25 knots instead of 27. After 2 years, this vessel returned to sea with the Clemenceau's spare propellers, reaching 25.2 knots during trials. In September 2001, the French press reported slightly high radioactivity levels on board, which turned out to be due to updated safety regulations, not a fault in the ship. Around the same time as the U.S. prepared for Operation Enduring Freedom, French media criticized the lack of military readiness. Former President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing even called the carrier a half-aircraft carrier and urged the construction of a second vessel. To make it better, the Charles de Gaulle began its first major overhaul in September 2007. This 15-month refit included refueling its nuclear power plant, essential after 6 years of service. During that time, the carrier had sailed enough to circle the globe 12 times, spent 900 days at sea, and completed 19,000 catapult launches. New propellers were installed, allowing it to reach 27 knots, replacing the older ones from 2001. Upgrades also included better aircraft maintenance, weapons storage, and enhanced communication systems. Aside from its upgraded features, this ship is famous for its capabilities. The Charles de Gaulle can carry up to 40 aircraft, including Rafale fighter jets, Super Étendard, and E-2C Hawkeye early warning planes. According to Novel Technology, the carrier's main deck features a runway angled at 8.5 degrees and an aircraft launch area. Both are equipped with USN-type C-13 catapults, allowing one aircraft to launch every minute. The runway is 195 meters long, while the deck measures 260 meters by 64 meters. Advanced systems like the Sagem Daedalus Laser Landing Aid and the Trap Stabilization System keep the ship stable, even in rough seas, allowing smooth aircraft operations. In 2007, the Charles de Gaulle received a major upgrade, including refueling its nuclear power plant and installing new propellers, boosting its speed to 27 knots. The carrier's weapons storage was also improved to handle Rafale F-3 jets, armed with Scalp EG cruise missiles and ASMPA nuclear missiles, making it a powerful force. For defense, the ship is equipped with 2 surface-to-air missile systems to protect against enemy aircraft and missiles. It also has Sagel launchers, 4 Mistral anti-aircraft and anti-missile systems. Let's move on to an aircraft carrier being developed by the US's greatest rival, China. The Type 003 carrier is one of a kind. It is expected to differ from China's previous carriers due to several advancements. Instead of using ski jumps to launch aircraft, it plans to use steam turbines and electromagnetic catapults. According to Chinese military expert Song Zhongping, Fujian also has an integrated power system. The exact engines on the Fujian are unknown since the carrier is quite new, and like any new flagship military equipment, not much information has been released about it just yet. The carrier's size is similar to the unfinished 85,000-ton Soviet aircraft carrier, Ulyanovsk, and the 100,000-ton supercarriers of the United States Navy. Initially, it was thought to be around 300 meters long, but later assessments using satellite images suggested it might be 316 meters long, with a flight deck 76 meters wide, and could be close to 100,000 tons in displacement. It is the first Chinese aircraft carrier that would enable aircraft to take off with catapults. It has 3 catapults, 2 on the front deck and 1 towards the back, near the angled landing deck. There are speculations that the carrier might have protective weapons on side platforms under the flight deck, like missile launchers for air defense and systems to deal with close threats. The Fujian is obviously up against the American aircraft carrier with the most AI and automation setup in history. Since China has yet to reveal much information on the systems powering the Fujian carrier, the chances of surpassing the systems on the American carrier, which builds on the successes of its preceding Nimitz-class carriers, another class of American carriers that boast impressive AI and automation, are still unknown. It is known that the Chinese carrier is fitted with the most advanced sensors and processing systems that the nation could provide. It begins with an integrated power system, a massive upgrade over the systems used in preceding Chinese aircraft carriers. The system allows for more efficient power distribution, which increases the performance of the ship's sensors and processing systems. These systems include an active electronically scanned array radar system, or ASA radar system, which provides the Fujian with superior detection and tracking capabilities, enabling it to simultaneously identify and track multiple targets. 4 S-band Dragon-I, Type 346 radars, and 4 smaller X-band ASAA radar panels support this system. The Chinese carrier's air wing is expected to advance, with the main aircraft of the air wing anticipated to be the naval version of the Shenyang FC-31, known as the J-35. The J-35 is a 5th-generation fighter designed to rival America's 5th-generation F-35 Lightning II. Another aircraft that might be on the Fujian is the Shan KJ-600, which will serve a similar surveillance role as the E-2D Hawkeye of the U.S. Navy. In addition to these fighters, the Fujian would likely host more fighters, rotary aircraft, and unmanned aerial vehicles. The exact count of these aircraft remains unknown for now. However, the Fujian is an 80,000-ton carrier. The Fujian 003 puts China on a list of only 3 nations to wield electromagnetic launch systems, next to France and the US. An electromagnetic launch system is a massive advancement over steam-powered launch systems and the ski ramps found on the previous Chinese carriers. With an electromagnetic launch system, an aircraft carrier can catapult the widest range of manned and unmanned aircraft in a short distance without causing damage to them. The last on the list of powerful aircraft carriers is the CVX, previously called LPX-2. This vessel is a proposed class of aircraft carriers for the South Korean Navy. Unlike the earlier Dokdo-class ships that focused on amphibious missions, the CVX will be built for operating fixed-wing and rotary-wing aircraft, making it a more traditional aircraft carrier. The project was officially announced and funded in the 2020 to 2024 Midterm Defense Plan in December 2020. This project is part of South Korea's effort to build a blue water navy, which started in 2001. So far, this plan includes ships like the Dokdo-class's amphibious assault ships, Sejong the Great-class destroyers, and Type 214 submarines. The goal is to match the growing naval power of nearby countries like China and Japan. Japan has Hyuga-class's helicopter carriers and Izumo-class's destroyers, while China has aircraft carriers like the Liaoning and Shandong, with a new carrier, Fujian, expected soon. In late 2020, South Korea accelerated the design and acquisition of the CVX aircraft carrier in response to naval expansions in neighboring countries. This move aimed to bring the carrier into service 1 year earlier and required a faster procurement process for the F-35B fighter jets it would carry. As of February 2021, work on the CVX was planned to start in 2022 and be completed by 2030. During the MADEX trade fair in June 2021, the Italian shipbuilding company Fincantieri signed a contract with Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering to assist in the design of the CVX, as South Korea sought expertise from an experienced industry partner. Despite these efforts, the administration of President Yoon Suk-yeol, elected in 2022, was skeptical of the CVX project. As a result, the project received no funding in the 2023 and 2024 South Korean defense budgets. While the CVX remains part of the Midterm Defense Blueprint 2024 to 2028, released in December 2023, its future will depend on further research and evaluation. Unlike the earlier Dokdo class, the CVX will not have a well deck for launching amphibious assault craft. Instead, its internal space will be used for storing and maintaining aircraft. The flight deck will have a straight design rather than a ski jump, which is common for other operators of the F-35B jet, except for the US Navy. The CVX will be one of the few aircraft carriers globally to have two islands. Babcock International, a defense company from the UK, has been helping with the CVX program and may have influenced the twin island design as they led the development of the Royal Navy's Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers. The South Korean government has announced that the sensors and weapons for the CVX will be developed locally. The ship will include a multifunction radar for ballistic missile defense, which will also be used on the next-generation KDDX-class destroyer. NASA has beaten its own record, shattering everything we know about travel. With a near-light-speed engine that defies the laws of physics, NASA continues to push the boundaries of technology. This groundbreaking propulsion technology could revolutionize how we explore the universe, pushing the boundaries of science and imagination. Will this be the key to unlocking the galaxy's deepest mysteries? What is different about this engine that makes it possible to reach the stars at near-light speed? Join us as we dive into NASA's designs for a near-light-speed engine that breaks the laws of physics. The M-Drive has stirred up considerable debate in the realm of rocket science. Why? Because it seems to go against the fundamental laws of physics, the very things that make the universe tick. When British engineer Roger Scheuer first proposed the M-Drive, he described it as an engine that would use microwaves and a special cavity structure. It would create thrust in much the same way a light bulb does, but with no moving parts. More importantly, no exhaust, which means no propellant and no problem. Stanislaw B. Shukalski, a physicist formerly associated with NASA's Glenn Research Center and now at the UFIT company in Fort Lauderdale, believed it wasn't supposed to work. This law, a foundation of physics, states that the total momentum in a closed system stays constant. Put more simply, for one thing to move in one direction, it must push another thing in the opposite direction. Rockets usually do this by firing hot gases backward. The M-Drive, however, claims to create movement without doing anything so messy and uncontrolled as firing gases. Despite skepticism within the scientific community, Scheuer's idea gained traction. In 2006, he claimed that his prototype could produce 0.1 Newton of thrust, enough to slowly move a small satellite in space. That figure captured NASA's EagleWorks lab, led by physicist Harold White, to pay attention to the M-Drive. In 2013, White's group ran a test on an M-Drive prototype. They reported seeing a very small amount of thrust, about 0.0001 newtons. Even that tiny force, which is on the order of the weight of a single eyelash, would be a lot more than physics would expect if the M-Drive were operating on known principles. So you can see why the NASA folks were excited. They worked pretty hard to try to explain to the world that this was a very early test and that the M-Drive was still not validated. But it didn't matter. The media had bought into the story, and it was out there. The enthusiasm went well beyond the country. In 2016, scientists employed by the Chinese Space Agency told the world that for 6 years, they had been testing in their laboratories a device that worked on the same principle as the M-Drive, and that they might even test their version in space. But the idea that it was possible to generate thrust just by bouncing microwaves around inside a closed container had worried many physicists since the original paper appeared in 2006. By the time the Chinese talked of a space test, their story had so many holes in it that it was almost laughable. Nonetheless, they kept a straight face. Even with these disappointments, several researchers remain hopeful. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, has continued to fund certain projects that are exploring related ideas and concepts like quantum inertia. While the M-Drive remains controversial, other innovative propulsion technologies have made the leap from science fiction to reality. Could ion engines be the key to unlocking deep space exploration? Let's dive into this fascinating technology. Picture a spacecraft soaring soundlessly through the darkness of space, with a gentle blue light glowing from its engine. This isn't the stuff of science fiction movies. It's the reality of ion engines, a technology that's starting to transform how we go to the stars. Public fascination with ion propulsion began with science fiction. The idea dates back to Philip Nolan's 1928 novel, Armageddon 2419 AD. Since then, franchises like Star Wars have propelled it into the public consciousness, using it in engines that can throw a spacecraft through the cosmos at astonishing speeds. What are the steps taken to make these engines operate in real life? They work differently from traditional rockets, which burn fuel. They work based on using charged particles. They start with an inert gas, usually xenon, and feed that into the engine. The engine has a chamber filled with electrons. The electrons bombard the gas atoms, which ionize the gas, meaning they strip away some electrons. That makes the gas atoms positive. Now you have a chamber full of positive ions and neutral atoms. The ions are accelerated through an electric field and ejected from the back of the engine at extremely high velocities. They push the spacecraft forward, much like the way releasing a balloon lets it fly across a room. The particles leaving the engine are positively charged, and if the spacecraft were allowed to accumulate charge, it would soon be so positive that it couldn't pull any more ions out of the engine to maintain the electric field. To prevent this, the spacecraft uses a neutralizer to spray electrons into the ion exhaust. Though it may seem like something out of a science fiction story, ion engines have been powering real spacecraft since the 1960s. The first successful test of an ion engine in space occurred with NASA's CERT-1 mission in 1964. Since then, the technology has advanced considerably. Ion engines are extremely efficient. They can accelerate ions to speeds almost an order of magnitude faster than conventional chemical rockets. The best modern ion engines can change the velocity of a spacecraft by 25 miles per second. Over the lifetime of a mission, that's a huge gain. Nevertheless, ion engines have their constraints. They generate an extremely low amount of thrust, approximately the same force that keeps a piece of paper from floating away. Once a spacecraft is in orbit, though, an ion engine can push it efficiently and effectively to higher and faster destinations than any chemical rocket can manage. Even with the apparent negative, ion engines have been of great worth when used in long-duration space missions. NASA's Dawn spacecraft, which was powered by ion engines, succeeded in going into orbit around 2 different asteroids, something no other spacecraft has accomplished. The European Space Agency's Bepi-Colombo mission to Mercury also uses ion propulsion to power what will, in all likelihood, be a 7-year trip to the innermost planet of our solar system. Ion engines are now being employed in a more terrestrial manner. For instance, the Starlink satellites from Elon Musk's SpaceX use ion propulsion for survival maneuvers. As ion engines continue to power our space exploration dreams, it's fascinating to look back at their origins. How did this technology evolve from a theoretical concept to a practical tool for space travel? The origins of electric propulsion can be traced back to 1917 in the work of American physicist Robert Goddard. A pioneer in the field of rocketry, Goddard is perhaps best known today for his concept of the vacuum tube. This device, which propels a rocket in a straight line, was a major step forward in the development of modern rocketry. Electric propulsion, with its different principle of operation, is commonly, if somewhat inaccurately, considered to be the successor to Goddard's vacuum tube. Although Goddard did not actually mention electric propulsion in his seminal work, some of the basic concepts he put forth have been used by later researchers in work on electric propulsion systems. The genuine advance occurred in 1959 when the first working ion engine was constructed in the United States. This prototype represented an important step, demonstrating that the idea could work in practice. But the first use of an ion engine in space did not happen until 1964. That year, NASA sent into space a device called SERT, short for Space Electric Rocket Test. For 31 minutes, an ion engine burned in the cruel conditions of outer space. This was a huge step forward since it proved that ions could be used to push spacecraft through the solar system. While the Americans were advancing, the Soviet Union was close behind. In the same year that SERT-1 took to the skies, Soviet scientists developed a counterpart called the plasma erosion engine. Created by M. Andrianov, this device was designed to work as a maneuvering thruster for solar-powered spacecraft. Andrianov's invention, as well as a similar ion engine developed by NASA, faced several key challenges that limited their use. For one, they were powered by solar energy, and for another, they required a staggering amount of power, up to 250 kilowatts, for something that was very nearly a straight shot to the firing voltage of the tasers that have been used to subdue unruly suspects. Despite the challenges, Soviet scientists pushed ahead. They refined their work and developed the SPT-25 engine, which produced a thrust of 25 millinewtons. By 1984, not only was the SPT-25 engine used on a number of Soviet spacecraft, it also marked the real, regular use of ion propulsion in space. Meanwhile, the United States had slowed down its ion engine development in the 1970s due to budget cutbacks and a strong focus on the space shuttle program. However, interest was piqued again in the 1990s when NASA began to plan serious deep space missions. Deep Space One, launched in 1998, was one of NASA's most significant attempts to explore beyond the human realms of the solar system. It was the first spacecraft to use an ion engine for primary propulsion, opening the door to the first reliable, long-haul propulsion system humanity could use to push a spacecraft to the edge of the solar system and beyond. Still, NASA wasn't the only player in the ion engine race. Other countries, too, had invested in the technology. For instance, Japan began work on its own ion engine in the 1980s and incorporated the technology into the Hayabusa asteroid sample return mission, which successfully returned a bag of asteroid dirt to Earth in 2010. The development of ion engines demonstrates the long-term thinking that is sometimes required in the realm of space technology. Half a century elapsed from the time when the great American inventor Robert H. Goddard first proposed the idea in 1914 of engines that were actually put to practical use in space. Yet, despite this long lapse of time, the progress that has been made with ion engines has resulted in a class of engines that are so efficient that they can power spacecraft for years, something that is often required if a mission is to successfully carry out its objectives. But how have these engines actually performed in real-world missions? Ion engines have come a long way from laboratory experiments to powering some of the most ambitious space missions ever attempted. These engines, with their ability to provide continuous thrust over long periods, have enabled spacecraft to reach destinations that were once thought impossible. One of the first major missions to showcase the potential of ion propulsion was NASA's Deep Space One, launched in 1998. This spacecraft served as a technology demonstrator, proving that ion engines could reliably propel a probe through deep space. Deep Space One operated its ion engine for a total of 16,265 hours, far exceeding its design lifetime and paving the way for future missions. Following the success of Deep Space One, the European Space Agency launched Smart 1 in 2003. This probe used its ion engine to spiral out from Earth and eventually enter orbit around the Moon. Smart 1 demonstrated that ion propulsion could be used not just for deep space missions, but also for more nearby targets like our lunar neighbor. Japan's space agency, JAXA, has also embraced ion propulsion technology. Their Hayabusa mission, launched in 2003, became the first spacecraft to land on an asteroid, collect samples, and return them to Earth. Hayabusa's ion engines played a crucial role in its journey to and from the asteroid Itokawa, operating for a total of about 40,000 hours throughout the mission. Perhaps one of the most impressive demonstrations of ion propulsion came with NASA's Dawn mission, launched in 2007. Dawn became the first spacecraft to orbit two different extraterrestrial bodies, the asteroid Vesta and the dwarf planet Ceres. The spacecraft's ion engines allowed it to change its velocity by 11 kilometers per second over the course of its mission, more than any other spacecraft had achieved through its own propulsion system. Ion engines have also found use closer to Earth. The European Space Agency's Gravity Field and Steady-State Ocean Circulation Explorer satellite, launched in 2009, used an ion engine to maintain its extremely low orbit of just 255 kilometers above Earth's surface. This allowed GOSI to make very precise measurements of Earth's gravity field. More recently, ion propulsion has become a key technology for satellite constellations. SpaceX's Starlink satellites, which aim to provide global internet coverage, use ion thrusters for orbit raising and station keeping. These thrusters allow the satellites to maintain their precise positions and avoid collisions with space debris. Other ongoing missions using ion propulsion include Bepi Colombo, a joint European-Japanese mission to Mercury, launched in 2018, and OSIRIS-REx, a NASA mission that successfully collected samples from the asteroid Bennu and is now on its way back to Earth. Looking to the future, ion engines are set to play an even bigger role in space exploration. NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test mission, launched in 2021, uses an ion engine for its journey to the asteroid Didymos, where it will test technology for planetary defense against potential asteroid impacts. While ion engines have proven their worth in numerous space missions, scientists are always looking for even more powerful propulsion methods. Could nuclear thermal propulsion be the next big leap in space travel technology? Nuclear thermal propulsion isn't a new idea. Scientists have been exploring this concept since the 1950s. But recent advances in technology and a renewed interest in deep space exploration have brought it back to the forefront of space research. So how does nuclear thermal propulsion work? At its core, an NTP engine uses a small nuclear reactor to heat a propellant, usually hydrogen, to extremely high temperatures. This superheated propellant is then expelled through a nozzle, creating thrust. It's similar to how a chemical rocket works, but with one key difference: the heat source. The potential benefits of NTP are significant. These engines could be twice as efficient as the best chemical rockets we have today. This means spacecraft could carry less fuel, leaving more room for scientific instruments or supplies. NTP engines could also provide higher thrust than ion engines, allowing for faster travel times to distant destinations like Mars. Several countries are actively developing NTP technology. In the United States, NASA and the Department of Defense are collaborating on the demonstration rocket for Agile Cislunar Operations program. Their goal is to demonstrate a working NTP engine in space by 2025. Russia is also in the game with its Transport and Energy Module project, aiming to develop a nuclear-powered spacecraft for missions to the Moon and Mars. China has announced plans to have a nuclear space engine ready by 2040. Despite its potential, NTP faces several challenges. Safety is a primary concern. Engineers must ensure that the nuclear reactor can operate safely in space and that there's no risk of radioactive material being released, especially during launch or in case of an accident. Another hurdle is public perception. The idea of launching nuclear materials into space can be concerning for many people. Clear communication about the safety measures and benefits of the technology will be crucial for its acceptance. The development of NTP has had its ups and downs. In the 1960s, the United States came close to testing a nuclear thermal engine with Project Nerva, but the program was canceled as focus shifted to the Apollo missions. The Soviet Union also had an advanced NTP program, but it was shut down in the 1980s following the Chernobyl disaster. Today's NTP research builds on this historical foundation while incorporating modern materials and safety standards. For example, current designs use low-enriched uranium fuel, which is safer and less prone to weaponization than the highly enriched uranium used in earlier concepts. If successful, NTP could open up new possibilities for space exploration. A mission to Mars could be completed in half the time it would take with conventional propulsion. This would reduce the astronauts' exposure to cosmic radiation and other health risks associated with long-duration spaceflight. Beyond Mars, NTP could enable missions to the outer solar system, like sending probes to explore the oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's moon Enceladus. These missions are currently challenging due to the long travel times required. As nuclear thermal propulsion technology advances, the United States is taking bold steps to make it a reality. But what exactly is the Draco program, and how will it change the future of space travel? In the race to develop nuclear thermal propulsion for spaceflight, the United States has launched an ambitious project called Draco, short for Demonstration Rocket for Agile Cislunar Operations. Draco aims to create and test a working nuclear thermal engine in space by 2025. The Draco program is led by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, an organization known for pushing the boundaries of technology. While NASA is focused on civilian space exploration, DARPA's interest in nuclear propulsion stems from potential military applications, such as quickly moving satellites or spacecraft between Earth orbit and the area around the Moon. What makes Draco special is its goal to actually fly a nuclear thermal engine in space. This is a big step beyond previous programs that only tested engines on the ground. If successful, Draco could pave the way for faster and more efficient travel in space, not just for military purposes, but for scientific exploration as well. The program is divided into two main parts. The first part focuses on designing the nuclear reactor that will power the engine. For this, DARPA has selected a company called General Atomics Electromagnetic Systems. They're working with Aerojet Rocketdyne, a company with a long history in rocket engines, to create the reactor. The second part of Draco involves designing the actual spacecraft that will carry and use the nuclear engine. Two teams are competing for this task, one led by Blue Origin and another by Lockheed Martin. One of the key challenges in developing a nuclear thermal engine is safety. The Draco program is using low-enriched uranium as fuel for its reactor. This type of uranium is safer to handle and less likely to be used for weapons compared to highly enriched uranium. The fuel will contain between 5% and 20% of the uranium-235 isotope, which is the kind that undergoes nuclear fission to produce energy. To put this in perspective, the fuel used in most nuclear power plants on Earth contains only about 3 to 5% uranium-235. The higher percentage in Draco's engine allows for a more compact reactor, which is crucial for a spacecraft where every bit of weight and space matters. The Draco program teams are exploring new materials that can withstand the extreme heat of a nuclear reactor, developing advanced computer models to simulate how the engine will perform, and creating new safety systems to ensure the engine can operate reliably in the harsh environment of space. However, there are still hurdles to overcome. Besides the technical challenges, there are also regulatory and public perception issues to address. Launching nuclear materials into space, even in a safe form, will require careful consideration and clear communication about the benefits and risks. As the Draco program progresses toward its 2025 goal, it represents a significant step in the evolution of space propulsion. Whether it leads to a new era of space exploration or becomes another stepping stone in our journey to the stars, Draco is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in space technology. It is no news that modern fighter jets are embarrassingly slower than the warbirds that ruled the skies decades ago. From the thunderous Russian Su-57 to the razor-sharp American F-22 Raptor, none have come close to matching their speed until now. Elon Musk's revolutionary new jet has shattered every speed record in history, Are we witnessing a new era in aviation supremacy? What is it about this fighter jet that makes even the legendary SR-71 Blackbird look like a paper airplane? Join us as we dive into why no one can match Elon Musk's jet in speed. Elon Musk's vision for the future of military aviation is bold and thought-provoking, especially his concept of a drone fighter jet. His idea challenges the traditional view of manned combat aircraft, proposing a remote-controlled autonomous fighter that can outmaneuver even the most advanced manned jets like the F-35. According to Musk, this combination of human oversight and machine intelligence will dominate the future of air combat. Musk believes that an autonomous drone fighter could be superior to any manned aircraft, even the F-35, a jet that is currently considered one of the most advanced in the world. The competitive advantage of this drone would lie in its enhanced ability to perform maneuvers that a human pilot simply could not endure. Without the physical limitations of a human body, these drones could push the boundaries of speed, agility, and endurance, allowing them to take on missions with extreme precision and at lower costs. What makes this concept even more compelling is the potential integration of artificial intelligence. AI could make decisions in real time, adapt to changing battle conditions, identify threats, and even coordinate with other drones in a swarm-like fashion. This level of coordination and autonomy could revolutionize not only how individual aircraft operate, but also how entire missions are executed. These drones would operate with greater efficiency, potentially staying airborne longer and withstanding harsher conditions. The cost benefits are also a significant selling point for Musk's idea. Traditional fighter jets like the F-35 require extensive maintenance, fuel, and human training. A fleet of drone fighters, on the other hand, would eliminate the need for life support systems and reduce operational costs significantly. This could make advanced air power more accessible and scalable for military forces worldwide. Despite the promise, there are still major challenges ahead. One of the primary concerns is cybersecurity. In a world where warfare is increasingly digital, the risk of a drone being hacked or manipulated by enemy forces is a legitimate fear. Additionally, the ethics surrounding autonomous weapons remain a hotly debated topic. Many argue that having machines make life or death decisions in combat without human intervention raises serious moral and legal questions. While Musk's vision is undoubtedly futuristic, the reality is that we are still in the early stages of fully autonomous air combat. For now, traditional fighter jets will continue to play a central role in military aviation, but they will increasingly be complemented by unmanned systems. The technology is evolving, and in the coming years, we could see drone fighters taking on more complex and dangerous missions. The real question now is, how soon will these drone fighters replace manned aircraft in the most critical combat roles? As military aviation shifts towards unmanned technology, one might wonder, can any manned fighter jet still push the boundaries of what's possible in the skies? Russia's most ambitious combat aircraft, the Sukhoi Su-57 Felon, steps into the spotlight. The Su-57 represents Russia's bold entry into the elite club of fifth-generation fighter jets. Cruising at an impressive 1,320 miles per hour, equivalent to Mach 2, this twin-engine beast combines raw power with cutting-edge technology. Its distinctive angular design isn't just for looks. Every curve and edge is carefully engineered to reduce its radar signature. But the Su-57's journey hasn't been smooth sailing. Despite its impressive capabilities, only a handful of these aircraft are currently in active service. The fighter has faced numerous development challenges, from engine reliability issues to production delays. In December 2020, the Russian Air Force finally welcomed its first operational Su-57, marking a significant milestone after years of testing and refinement. At the heart of this war machine are two Saturn AL-41F1 afterburning turbofan engines. These powerhouses don't just provide straight-line speed, they feature thrust vectoring technology, allowing the aircraft to perform incredible aerial maneuvers that would be impossible for conventional fighters. Think of it as giving a heavyweight boxer the agility of a gymnast. What truly sets the Su-57 apart is its blend of stealth and strength. Unlike most stealth fighters that sacrifice power for invisibility, the Su-57 aims to do both. Its internal weapons bays can carry a variety of missiles and bombs while maintaining its stealthy profile, and its advanced radar system can track multiple targets simultaneously. Yet this Russian fighter has sparked debate in aviation circles. Some experts question its stealth capabilities, suggesting they don't match those of American counterparts like the F-22 Raptor. However, the Su-57 supporters argue that its combination of speed, maneuverability, and reduced radar signature makes it a formidable opponent in any aerial encounter. The aircraft's cockpit is a pilot's dream, featuring advanced electronics and a sophisticated heads-up display that presents critical flight information directly in the pilot's line of sight. The Su-57 also includes artificial intelligence elements that help pilots manage complex combat situations. While production numbers remain limited, Russia continues to refine and improve the Su-57. Future versions promise even more powerful engines, improved stealth capabilities, and advanced weapon systems. Despite its challenges, the Su-57 represents a significant leap forward in Russian military aviation. But with such impressive specs and capabilities, why isn't the Su-57 leading the pack in modern air combat? The answer might surprise you as we examine our next contender. While Russia's Su-57 pushes technological boundaries, one fighter jet has long set the gold standard for air supremacy. But what makes the F-22 Raptor America's undisputed king of the skies? The Lockheed Martin F-22. Raptor is proof of American aerospace innovation, cruising at an impressive 1,355 miles per hour. But raw speed is just the beginning of this remarkable story. Born from the Air Force's Advanced Tactical Fighter program, the F-22 was created with one primary mission: to dominate the skies against advanced Soviet fighters like the MiG-29 and Su-27. What truly sets the F-22 apart is its unmatched combination of capabilities. Think of it as a Swiss Army knife that flies. It excels at air combat, can strike ground targets with precision, conduct electronic warfare, and gather intelligence, all while remaining nearly invisible to radar. The heart of the Raptor's power lies in its twin Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines, which allow it to do something extraordinary: supercruise. This means it can fly faster than the speed of sound without using fuel-hungry afterburners, a feat few fighter jets can match. Stealth isn't just a feature of the F-22. It's woven into every aspect of its design. Its angular surfaces and special coatings make it incredibly difficult to detect on radar. The aircraft's weapons are carried internally, maintaining its stealthy profile while carrying a lethal arsenal. In the cockpit, pilots have access to an array of advanced systems that combine radar, sensor, and communication data into a clear picture of the battlefield. This integration gives F-22 pilots an unprecedented advantage. They can often see and engage threats long before being detected themselves. Despite its $150 million price tag and the fact that only 187 operational models were built, the F-22's combat record speaks volumes. No other fighter jet has successfully challenged its air superiority. The U.S. Air Force's decision to limit production has made each Raptor even more valuable, and they're carefully maintained to ensure peak performance. The F-22's capabilities were proven during deployments in the Middle East, where it conducted both air superiority and precision strike missions. Its mere presence in a region often deterred potential adversaries, earning it the nickname Silver Bullet among military planners. Today, the F-22 continues to evolve through software updates and new weapons integration, ensuring it remains ahead of emerging threats. While newer fighters like the F-35 have joined the fleet, the F-22 maintains its position as America's premier air dominance fighter. But even with such impressive credentials, technology never stands still in the world of combat aircraft. As we look at Europe's answer to air superiority, what innovations have they brought to challenge the Raptor's reign? Europe has crafted its own impressive arsenal of fighter jets. But can any single European fighter match the Raptor's capabilities? Europe's answer comes in multiple forms, each with its own unique strengths. The French Dassault Mirage 2000 leads the pack at 1,450 miles per hour, proving that single-engine fighters can pack a serious punch. Powered by a robust Synecma afterburning turbofan engine, the Mirage 2000 can climb at an astounding rate of 285 meters per second. Think of scaling the Empire State Building in just over a second. Russia's contribution, the MiG-29 Fulcrum, pushes the envelope even further at 1,520 miles per hour. With over 1,600 units built, this twin-engine fighter was Russia's answer to American jets like the F-16 and F-15. Its two powerful Klimov RD-33 engines don't just provide raw speed, they give the Fulcrum remarkable maneuverability, making it a formidable opponent in close combat. The legendary F-14 Tomcat, though retired from U.S. service, still deserves mention with its impressive 1,540 miles per hour capability. Originally designed for carrier operations, the Tomcat's variable sweep wings gave it unmatched versatility. Financial constraints, not performance limitations, led to its retirement. A modernized version could have served well into the 2030s. Matching the Tomcat's speed is Europe's latest pride, the Eurofighter Typhoon. Born from a collaboration between multiple European nations, the Typhoon represents the pinnacle of European fighter design. Its twin Eurojet EJ200 engines produce a combined 40,000 pounds of thrust, enabling it to dance through the skies with remarkable agility. First flown in 1994, the Typhoon features an unstable wing design that requires constant computer adjustments, much like balancing a pencil on your fingertip. Tricky but incredibly maneuverable when mastered. What makes European fighters unique is their focus on versatility. While American designs often specialize in specific roles, European jets are built to handle multiple missions effectively. The Typhoon, for instance, excels in both air-to-air combat and ground attack missions, while the Mirage 2000's Delta Wing design provides excellent performance across its flight envelope. These European fighters have proven themselves in various conflicts, with the Typhoon seeing action in Libya and the Middle East, while MiG-29s continue to serve in air forces worldwide. Their success lies not just in raw performance numbers, but in their ability to adapt to changing mission requirements and operational environments. Despite their impressive capabilities, a question lingers. In the age of stealth and electronic warfare, can pure speed and maneuverability still dictate air superiority? As we turn to examine the next generation of American fighters, the answer might surprise you. While European fighters excel at versatility, America's need for pure speed and power led to two remarkable aircraft. But what happens when engineers push the boundaries of what's possible in fighter design? The McDonnell Douglas F-15 Sea Eagle soars at an incredible 1,650 miles per hour, but its most impressive statistic isn't speed, it's perfection. Not a single F-15 has ever been lost in air-to-air combat, creating one of the most impressive combat records in aviation history. At the heart of this success are two mighty Pratt & Whitney F-100 series engines, generating a combined 47,000 pounds of thrust. This massive power plant gives the Eagle the muscle to dominate any aerial battlefield. The latest versions include advanced radar systems that will keep these warriors flying well into the 2040s. Matching the Eagle's speed but serving a different mission, the General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark brought unique innovations to aerial warfare. Its nickname comes from its unusual ability to fly with its nose nearly touching the ground, much like its animal namesake. This ground-hugging capability made it incredibly effective for sneaking under enemy radar. The Aardvark proved remarkably survivable. Only 6 were lost in combat during more than 4,000 missions. It could take off and land on short runways, just 2,000 feet long, giving it flexibility other fighters couldn't match. The F-111's advanced terrain-following radar system allowed it to fly dangerous nighttime missions with unprecedented accuracy. Both aircraft showcase American engineering at its finest. The F-15's focus on air superiority made it the undisputed king of dogfights, while the F-111's versatility in strike missions and nuclear deterrence made it invaluable during the Cold War. These aircraft proved that different approaches to fighter design could both lead to exceptional results. Today, the F-15 continues to serve in upgraded forms with several air forces worldwide, while the F-111, though retired, influenced many modern aircraft designs. Their success stories demonstrate how specialized aircraft can excel in their intended roles when given the right combination of power, technology, and purpose. But as impressive as these American fighters are, an even faster challenger emerged from an unexpected source. While American fighters showcased raw power and versatility, China quietly developed an aircraft that would challenge their dominance. But how did the Chengdu J-10 become one of the fastest fighters in the world? China's J-10 fighter jet proves that sometimes less is more. With a maximum speed of 1,687 miles per hour, this single-engine powerhouse sits comfortably between the legendary MiG-31 and F-15C Eagle. But what makes this achievement particularly impressive is how it accomplishes this feat with just one engine. The secret lies in the WS-10B afterburning turbojet engine, a masterpiece of Chinese engineering that produces an astounding 32,000 pounds of thrust. Think of it as having the power of a small rocket, but with the precision control needed for complex aerial maneuvers. This engine allows the J-10 to perform stunning acrobatics, pulling maneuvers that generate forces between -3 and +9 times the force of gravity, similar to what you'd experience on the most extreme roller coaster, but with much more control. The cockpit is a pilot's high-tech command center, featuring 3 liquid crystal displays and an advanced holographic heads-up display. Chinese engineers developed a helmet-mounted sight system that they claim surpasses those used in Russian Sukhoi fighters, giving pilots the ability to target enemies simply by looking at them. The J-10's radar systems have evolved significantly over time. Early models used the Type 1473 Pulse Doppler radar, China's first practical system of its kind. Modern versions sport an active electronically scanned array radar that can track multiple targets simultaneously while remaining harder to detect. When it comes to weapons, the J-10 is no lightweight. It carries a twin-barrel cannon for close encounters and can be loaded with up to 12,300 pounds of external weapons on 11 hardpoints. These can include everything from short-range air-to-air missiles to long-range radar-guided missiles, precision-guided bombs, and even anti-ship missiles. The aircraft's development represents China's growing ability to produce world-class military technology. While early versions relied on Russian engines, newer models use China's own WS-10B engine, complete with modifications for enhanced stealth and thrust vectoring, allowing the engine nozzle to move and provide additional maneuverability. What makes the J-10 particularly noteworthy is its balance of performance characteristics. It matches or exceeds many Western fighters in terms of maneuverability while maintaining impressive speed and combat capability. This combination has made it a cornerstone of China's Air Force modernization efforts. But even with such impressive performance, one aircraft would push the boundaries of speed even further. Could any modern fighter hope to match the astonishing velocities reached by our next contender? After setting incredible standards for speed and altitude, the YF-12 remains one of the most remarkable aircraft in aviation history. But what makes it truly special, and how did it manage to achieve such groundbreaking feats? The Lockheed YF-12 was developed by Lockheed Corporation in the late 1950s and early 1960s as an advanced high-speed interceptor prototype for the U.S. Air Force. Intended to replace the F-106 Delta Dart, the YF-12 was designed to fly at Mach 3+, which is over 3 times the speed of sound. Its design was based on the secretive Lockheed A-12 reconnaissance aircraft, originally used by the CIA. However, while the A-12 was a single-seat plane focused on reconnaissance, the YF-12 featured a 2-person crew, 1 pilot, and 1 fire control officer, and was designed for combat interception. The aircraft also came equipped with the Hughes & Slash ASG-18 fire control radar and could carry AIM-47 Falcon air-to-air missiles, making it a formidable weapon. The YF-12 took its maiden flight on August 7, 1963. Less than a year later, President Lyndon B. Johnson publicly revealed its existence in February 1964. This announcement served 2 purposes. It highlighted America's advancements in aerospace technology, while also shielding the highly classified A-12 program from public scrutiny by focusing attention on the YF-12. The interceptor quickly proved to be more than just a prototype, as it set and held speed and altitude records. The aircraft flew at speeds exceeding 2,000 miles per hour and reached altitudes above 80,000 feet, becoming the fastest and highest flying crewed interceptor of its time. Despite these impressive achievements, the YF-12 never entered full operational service. The Vietnam War and other military priorities during the 1960s redirected funds and attention away from the project, ultimately leading to its cancellation. Only 3 YF-12 were ever built. Had the interceptor gone into full production, it would likely have surpassed the Soviet MiG-25 Foxbat, often cited as the fastest fighter jet, in terms of speed and performance. The YF-12 remains one of aviation's most intriguing what-if stories. After its short stint with the Air Force, the YF-12 found a second life with NASA, where it was used as a research aircraft. The data it gathered helped advance supersonic flight technology and laid the groundwork for future aircraft designs. Although the YF-12 never saw combat, its contributions to aviation and aerodynamics were invaluable. The YF-12, with its cutting-edge design and record-breaking speed, set a new benchmark for high-speed flight. Its legacy is still felt today in supersonic aircraft technology. The brewing tension between the US and China has taken a sharp turn with the unveiling of one of the world's most dangerous weapons, reportedly developed by China. In battle for technological dominance, China's bold move has sent shockwaves across the globe with its new hypersonic FOBs, leaving the United States on high alert. But what are the capabilities of this powerful weapon? How will it affect the already delicate relationship between these two powerful countries? Join us as we explore the deadly features of China's extremely dangerous UFO that has taken the US by surprise. The growing competition between the United States and China has become a new kind of rivalry, focused on technology rather than traditional power. This technological Cold War is changing global relationships and challenging how countries have worked together in the past. As the situation becomes more complicated, it's important to understand the different aspects of this conflict. What started as a race for economic and technological leadership has now turned into a strategic competition. The US, once seen as the leader in technology, is now facing a strong challenge from China, which has quickly risen to compete. Recently, China unveiled a new weapon that the United States did not see coming: the hypersonic FOBs. China's hypersonic FOBs is an advanced version of intercontinental ballistic missiles, also known as ICBMs, with a significant plus of higher range, greater speeds, and real anxiety within the United States. Once launched, a FOBs would jet into low Earth orbit, circling the Earth for as long as it needed to, with its target destination in sight. It deorbits at a speed up to 27 times the speed of sound, roughly 9 times faster than any jet in operation today. The FOBs is like a space shuttle, but instead of carrying astronauts, it carries a nuclear warhead. It can strike anywhere in the world, including the US, and reaches its target at least 10 minutes faster than an intercontinental ballistic missile. Because of this, the US would have only a few minutes to respond once they spot the missile. Even if the US had plenty of time to prepare its defenses, reports suggest that the FOBs can avoid their missile defense systems due to its glider and speed. It moves too quickly for these systems to detect, stop, or destroy. In July and August of 2021, China tested its new FOBs missile system. The test involved launching a rocket into space, which then released a glide vehicle moving at very high speeds. It's reported that the warhead missed its target by about 24 miles. The FOBs technology, which was first developed during the Cold War, is less common today as most advanced militaries prefer ICBMs. ICBMs can carry larger warheads and don't need retro rockets to exit orbit like FOBs does. The exact number of warheads a FOBs can deliver is not known, and it's unclear why China is developing this system instead of improving its ICBMs. However, these tests have sparked global debates about security and arms control. FOBs missiles are not new. The Soviet Union was the first to test them in the 1960s, but they abandoned the idea because the missiles had smaller payloads and were easier to detect. Now China has revived these missiles and made them better with new hypersonic glide vehicle technology. This HGVs have the ability to reach speeds of Mach 5 and maneuver more easily than traditional ballistic missiles, making them harder to predict and intercept. Despite these tests, the technological balance between China and the US remains similar. China has about 450 ICBMs compared to the US's, but only 142 of China's ICBMs are operational. Even with new technology, it's unlikely China has a significant advantage. The US is improving its radar systems, which could reduce the effectiveness of hypersonic glide vehicles. It is also believed that the tests might be causing more problems for China than benefits. They fuel American distrust and fear, possibly leading to stronger international opposition against China's military buildup. China, however, claimed that the test was a routine spacecraft experiment, not related to FOBs development. However, if China's FOBs were detected, it could severely reduce their ability to retaliate against United States cities, which would be a serious setback for China. Their actions suggest a determination to expand its nuclear capabilities, even though it claims to have a no-first-strike policy. They are expected to have around 1,000 nuclear weapons by 2030, putting them third behind Russia and the US. The reasons for this increase are unclear, but it shows that China's leaders are concerned about their security. China's focus on EFOBs also lays emphasis on the gaps in current arms control agreements. While the Outer Space Treaty bans nuclear weapons in space, it does not cover conventional weapons. This creates potential loopholes that could be exploited. FOBs could potentially be used to distract US defenses, making it easier for other attacks. Even though China may not yet have the capability to match the United States in nuclear retaliation, any loss of US cities would be catastrophic. As mentioned earlier, China was not the first to create a weapon like this. In the early 1960s, Soviet officials began considering the development of a FOBs-like weapon, especially after the success of the Sputnik launch. The Soviet Union thought it was a logical step since they believed that the US was planning to use space for nuclear attacks. The success of the Soviet Vostok program, which put a human into orbit, made this idea seem more possible. The Soviet Union saw several key benefits in developing the FOBs. It allowed for an unlimited striking range with nuclear weapons and could launch an attack from any direction, whether from the North or South Pole, or even both simultaneously. The system was designed to avoid early warning radar by traveling on a low Earth orbit path, which was not covered by US radar systems that focused on higher altitude missiles. Soviet rocket engineer Sergei Korolev was one of the first to design a FOBs-like missile. His design, known as the GR-1 or SSX-10 Scrag, began development in 1960 and was officially approved in September 1962. Korolev pitched this idea to Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, who then announced that the Soviet Union could use global missiles to bypass early warning radar systems and reach targets quickly. The GR-1 was designed to be detected by NATO radar only 2 minutes before impact. The GR-1 had 3 stages, weighed 117 tons, and was 35.31 meters long. It carried a 2.2 megaton nuclear warhead and used a mix of kerosene and liquid oxygen as fuel. At the same time, 2 other FOBs-type missile projects were being developed. One was by Soviet missile engineer Vladimir Chelimy, who proposed the UR-200A and GR-2. The UR-200A, derived from his UR-200 ICBM, was chosen for further development. It used different engines and stable liquid propellants, such as nitrogen tetroxide and UDMH. The other project was by Soviet designer Mikhail Yangel, who proposed the R-36. Approved in April 1962, this missile used an ICBM design as a base. It had 3 stages, with an aiming system for correcting its trajectory and a retrorocket for deorbiting. The warhead was housed in the OG-C module, which also controlled maneuvering and separation of the warhead from the missile. The R-36O was 32.60 meters long, 3 meters in diameter, and had a total launch mass of 180 tons. It used hypergolic propellants similar to those in the UR-200. The warhead's explosive yield was between 5 and 20 megatons, according to Soviet sources, though Western intelligence suggests it was smaller, between 1 and 3.5 megatons. In 1965, Soviet officials had to pick one of the 3 FOBs projects to continue with. They chose Yangel's R-36O design over the others. It's not entirely clear why this choice was made, especially since none of the missiles had been tested yet. However, there were issues with the other designs that likely influenced the decision. Korolev's GR-1 was a problem because it used a type of fuel that wasn't practical for long-term storage in missile silos. The GR-1's rocket also had a history of failure in tests, and it was similar in design to another problematic missile project. Because of these issues, the military decided to look for a better option. The GR-1 also faced criticism from Soviet analysts for its ability to handle US missile defense systems and its lengthy fueling process. Delays in producing the GR-1's engine contributed to its downfall, and the project was abandoned in January 1965. Chelomey's UR-200A lost support after Khrushchev, who had been a key supporter, was removed from power in 1964. The new military leaders preferred Yangel's R-36O, leading to the end of the UR-200A project in 1965. The Soviet Union tested and used the R-36O missile at a site near Baikonur, Kazakhstan. They built a testing station and a facility to assemble the missile. In 1965, they adapted 2 test pads for the R-36O's early flights and constructed 18 launch silos between the mid-1960s and 1971. These silos were spaced 10 to 15 kilometers apart to avoid multiple silos being destroyed by a single attack. Originally, the Soviets planned 19 launches, but ended up doing 24 by 1971. The first 4 launches were from a ground pad, with the missile flying to the Kamchatka Peninsula. Later tests involved launching from a silo into orbit, then directing the missile's payload back to Soviet territory over the Pacific Ocean. Over 2,000 Soviet personnel were involved, with 6 tests failing completely and the others having varying levels of success. Before the first launches, the Soviets claimed that they were testing a space vehicle landing system over the Pacific. The first test flight was on December 16, 1965, but it missed the target due to a malfunction. The second test on February 5, 1966, failed because of a retro-rocket issue. The third test on March 16, 1966, failed due to a fueling problem. The fourth test on May 20, 1966, had some success, but the payload didn't separate as planned. Subsequent tests from silos faced issues, including intentional destruction of the missile due to an engine malfunction. One failed test caused debris to fall over the Midwestern United States. In 1967, the Soviets conducted 10 more tests, with 9 showing some success. They used public statements about satellite launches to cover their R-36O tests. On November 19, 1968, the R-36O was declared operational and deployed in groups of 6. By 1971, all 18 silos in Kazakhstan were in use. NATO intelligence believed the R-36O targeted the U.S. Grand Forks Air Force Base, where an ABM system was planned. The missile was not equipped with a nuclear payload until 1972. In the 1960s, the Outer Space Treaty prevented both the U.S. and the Soviet Union from placing nuclear weapons in orbit. But that wasn't the only reason the Soviet FOB stayed grounded. The U.S. had stopped focusing on defenses against nuclear weapons, making the FOBs less relevant since Soviet ICBMs could still cause significant damage. Now, with the Outer Space Treaty in the past, there's nothing stopping major nations from putting nuclear weapons in orbit, as China has shown. According to the Financial Times, China tested its hypersonic orbital bombardment weapon in August. China says it was just testing a space plane, but given their recent push in weapon development, their explanation seems unlikely. The big question is, why has China developed this powerful weapon so quickly, faster than the United States could keep up with? The reason is similar to why Moscow developed such weapons over 50 years ago, to overcome the U.S. missile defenses. It makes sense because a FOBs is one of the few weapons the U.S. doesn't have a complete defense against. The FOBs could keep the target location hidden until the last moment, only revealing it when the payload was released. This ability gives it an edge against defense systems. It also has the advantage of reaching its target about minutes faster than an ICBM. The Soviets believed the FOBs could defeat U.S. anti-ballistic missile systems, either by neutralizing defenses against ICBMs or by serving as a powerful standalone weapon. U.S. officials later suggested they could develop countermeasures, indicating that the FOBs was indeed effective against the defenses of its time. But maybe not for long, because if anything, the United States is notorious for having the best response to threats. How will the U.S. respond? The U.S. must find a way to make China believe in nuclear deterrence and put their FOBs away. Trying to ask really nicely would only risk giving them something to laugh about. The U.S. must prove they can handle Chinese FOBs or deal similar damage to China with some sci-fi weapons of their own. Marco Longbrook, an expert on space, suggests that the U.S. should extend its ballistic missile defenses and add anti-satellite missiles. Some think this might not be the best idea, as building a defense shield could lower the morale of everyday Americans who feel vulnerable. There are already comparisons being made to the Sputnik crisis from the 1950s, when Americans feared the Soviets launching the first artificial satellite, the Sputnik 1. The US has two main options: either get neighboring countries to build their own missile defense systems or create more defenses within the US. The first option sounds logical, but is expensive and involves spending money on defense systems outside US borders. For instance, the ground-based mid-course defense system in Alaska cost about $70 billion, and a proposed site in New York was estimated to cost $3.6 billion for just 5 years and could only handle 5 enemy missiles. China is making space defenses more complicated by testing both orbit-based and non-orbit-based attacks. The Space Force is determined to keep up with China, spending a lot to do so. China has also tested a satellite that can disable US satellites, which the Space Force finds troubling. In 2013, China launched a satellite called Xi'an, which had large grappling arms to capture other satellites. China said it was for research, but it's unusual to research weapons before developing them. Russia has also been active. They launched 3 attack-capable satellites. The first, called Kamikaze, was launched in 2014 and could move at high speeds. A later satellite, launched in 2017, could shoot projectiles. The third satellite, the Nesting Doll, combined these abilities, making it like a fighter jet in space. All this space weaponry has caught the attention of the US. The US Space Force was established the same year Russia launched its fighter satellite. The Space Force and other parts of the US military, including Air Force and companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Northrop Grumman, are working on advanced technologies like powerful lasers to destroy satellites and missiles. The US Navy and Army recently tested a hypersonic missile at the Pacific Missile Range in Hawaii. This test helped gather important data about how the missile works from start to finish, for both the conventional prompt strike and long-range hypersonic weapon programs. During the test, the missile launched, creating a large fireball and clouds of smoke. Vice Admiral Johnny R. Wolf Jr., who is in charge of the Navy's strategic systems programs, called the test an important step in developing hypersonic missiles for the nation. Lieutenant General Robert Rash Jr. from the Army also added that with this new technology, the military will stay ahead of any potential threats. Aside from this new technology that was recently tested, Lockheed Martin and Co-Aspire have also introduced the new Mako multi-mission hypersonic missile at the Sea Airspace 2024 event. Rick Loy, a senior program manager at Lockheed Martin, explained that the missile is designed for the US Navy. It's a fast, affordable, and highly capable system that can target multiple threats with one weapon. The Mako, named after the fastest shark, was showcased for the first time since development began 7 years ago. A display at the event showed an F-35A launching 6 Mako missiles quickly from internal and external mounts. Although Mako is versatile, it wasn't created for the Navy's hypersonic air-launched offensive anti-surface program. Instead, it was initially Lockheed Martin's bid for the U.S. Air Force's Stand-in Attack Weapon program, designed to hit enemy missiles and air defense systems. Northrop Grumman ultimately won the SIAL contract, but Mako remains an advanced option for future missions. Even though the Mako missile was revealed, Rick Loy from Lockheed Martin couldn't share many details with Naval News. He could only reveal that the missile uses multiple guidance methods and has electronic packages, but didn't give more specifics. However, he did confirm that Mako can reach at least Mach 5. The model shown at the event was the same one used for fitting tests on different aircraft. According to Loy, Mako has been checked for compatibility with several fighter jets and maritime patrol aircraft, and it can fit onto any aircraft with 30-inch lugs, like those using the BRU-32 ejector rack. This hypersonic missile was tested on advanced planes like the F-35, F-22, F-16s, F-15, F-18, and the Navy's P-8. Loy also said it can be loaded inside an F-35, with one missile fitting in each bay. The missile can also be launched from aircraft on carriers, and there's potential for it to be launched from ships, ground platforms, or even submarines. So China's FOBs might not be so invincible after all, because apart from the United States' investment into the creation of hypersonic missiles, this country has also made a statement of its own in other departments, seeing as they have the most powerful air force in the world and the largest aircraft carriers in history. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.